Bandwidth for First Updates Now is supported by the Blue Alliance. Keep up to date on all live and archived First Robotics events and team stats at thebluealliance.com.
People are interested.
But you know what? If you send me an email, you'll get a response, and it will be from me.
And I really don't have any desire to.
You haven't watched the trailer at all?
No.
A lot of people haven't heard of the couch division, so
It's a comfy division to be in, though.
it's super comfy. It's almost too comfy at times.
Your response to teams who see that as a new potential issue with districts?
Yeah, that's really a two-pronged question.
Let's see if there's any damage from that fall. There was. They snapped. 330. Still on their back. 6 seconds to go.
4 was the highest ranked. And as votes continue to pour in, everything kind of changed around a little bit. So we forget about that.
First Updates Now is brought to you by Twitch. Fun is now a Twitch partner and offering some awesome subscriber-only benefits. Subscribe today or get a free subscription each month when you have Amazon Prime by linking your account and clicking subscribe. Coming up on First Updates Now recap, 2017 season is in the books. Well, the regular season at least anyways. We'll recap the St. Louis Championships, of course, break down the top FRC top 25 for the entire season, along with looking forwards picks as well. So we'll check those out. We have Frank Merrick, the FRC director on the show, here to answer a few questions for you two. Reporting for First Updates Now, I'm Tyler Olds.
I'm Justin Montoys.
And I'm Mike Stark, and back this week is Christina Tia from Wordplay All Day, who's going to be drawing up and giving away another awesome robot. Christina, welcome back. It was really great to see you in St. Louis. And which robot will we be drawing and giving away today?
Hey guys, yeah, it was great seeing you guys too. And we will be drawing the Alliance captain of the championship winner, which is Strike Force Team 2767.
Oh, the St. Louis Championship winner, right?
I'm sorry, yes, St. Louis Championship.
So still hard to get sometimes on there. Yeah. Hey, don't forget, to be entered to win for this, we're going to do a subs-only giveaway today. So you do have to subscribe. You can do so for free through Twitch Prime. They also open up some new sub levels. So if you really only want to give us like $24.99 a month, we'll be your best friend if you do that. So make sure you do that as well. We'll give that away at the end of the show. So make sure you stick around through the entire thing. Christine will give us a special key phrase you'll have to type in. And we're looking forward to giving that away this afternoon.
So our guest for this evening is the one, the only, Frank Merrick. Frank is the director of the First Robotics competition, an avid supporter of that pro pineapple on pizza movement. You have to decide if that's right for you. But Frank, welcome, and certainly thanks for taking the time to be on the show.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it. I can't wait to spend a few minutes talking about the season.
Well, we appreciate it. And we know that your time is short and valuable, and still want to give you a little bit of chance to recover from not one, but 2 championships back to back.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
So we just want to take a little bit of time to pick your brain about Steamworks championships and to field some questions that were submitted on Chief Delphi for you. So
sounds great.
We're going to get right into it. So you just literally survived another season.
Yeah.
For you, which is just a gauntlet of competition and all sorts of good stuff. So just kind of give us your impressions and any inside info on this Teamwork season, just kind of from your very unique perspective.
Oh, sure. And so, of course, the big challenge this season was the 2 championships back to back. For the staff, that meant for many of the staff, especially on the kind of the program staff, I'll say, that meant really being away from home for 2 solid weeks. And the first headquarters, they really did try to take care of us. They did just the little things, making sure like we had laundry service available in the hotels and that kind of, which sounds very small, but it's great to just be able to, you bring a week of clothes with you, you drop them off at the hotel front desk, and by the end of the day, they're back and clean. And so we really did get a lot of support from that perspective. I just got the numbers in today. So last year we had, 2016, we had 43,000 attendees at championship. This year, between the 2 championship locations, we had a total. The final numbers aren't in yet, but we're looking at about 61,000. So that's a significant increase in the number of folks that we were able to reach, which was, of course, one of the main goals there in having those two championships. So I'll tell you though, we're very happy to be home. So we were getting pretty tired toward the end though, and of course you could see it also in. We had 100 volunteers, over 100 volunteers that actually did both championships, and
first marathon.
It's amazing, especially when you look at the fact that for most of these folks, the vast majority of their folks, they're taking their own time off and investing their own money to really make those trips. But over 100, I mean, that's fantastic. They all got a special button, and we couldn't thank them enough. And obviously volunteers are what, as I've said before, it's what makes First run, and it's just so good to see. It's like one big family. By the end, we were a tired family, but we were still a family, you know.
Yeah Cool. So on a side note, we just all want to really appreciate you just setting up our interviews with Dante and Jared these past 2 weeks. It's just been great for us, and just all of us to kind of hear what goes on inside that game design review.
I'm glad we could do that. That was something that I had thought about this season, and just wanted to kind of, like we said, pull back the curtain a little bit and really give some insight for folks that were willing to talk, that were on the rules review committee. Let them come out and say what they had to say and say what they thought of the process, and we found that process to be very valuable. We've done it. This is the third year we've done it, and we're going to continue it.
Mm-hmm. So as Justin said, we have kind of the couple questions from our viewers about championships, but we kind of wanted to get your overall initial impressions about Houston in particular. Just kind of a big step for First this year. St. Louis, this being its 7th, is kind of just that known. We all know where everything is, kind of know how it runs. So just a very, very big unknown heading to Houston for this year. Kind of probably really stressful on the staff. So can you walk us through maybe your specific experience in those rounds?
A huge unknown. Houston, brand new venue, brand new event management company. It wasn't show ready events like we had been used to. So it was all developing new relationships, both with the show staff and the venue. Things at George R. Brown went great. I mean, I was just getting I haven't seen the survey results yet. I mean, that's something that is out there, and we want everyone to fill out those surveys, of course. I haven't seen the survey results yet, but just anecdotally, people saying how great George R. Brown was, and great having sort of all the programs in one building, and you could go up to Innovation Fair without walking outside. Great green space. The welcome party we had in place of the welcome ceremony seemed to be very well received, and everyone just having a great time. And then we went to go a block and a half away to the ballpark, and we hit the Great Wall of Security getting into that event. And for me, it was I mean, I'll be honest, I was disappointed. I felt like we had done a pretty good job up to that point, taking care of the teams, and what happened at the ballpark just wasn't what the kind of quality that we wanted to deliver to our customers, honestly. And when you hear the stories about, and they're not exaggerations, you hear stories about teams waiting 2 hours in line. There were teams waiting 2 hours in line to get in, and that's just not how we want to run things. And there are also just structural challenges, of course, with ballparks are designed to watch baseball games. They're not really designed to watch FRC and First Robotics Competition or First Tech Challenge matches. And they're just a number of real struggles that we had there. And I think we still ended okay. We got through our matches. I think we had some solid, exciting matches there. But it's something that we're going to be spending a lot of time in over the next few weeks, and saying, okay, what are we going to do different, sort of next year.
So let's move on here. We got a lot to go through. We want to make sure that our viewers also get their questions in as well. So let's jump over to St. Louis Championships. As mentioned, probably a little bit less stressful, as you guys, you're at a brand new thing. It's kind of nice, the way I do it is that way too. You get the hard part out of the way, then you get St. Louis, which is hopefully a little bit more a smoother glide for you. But I do want to ask you about something that I witnessed, and if others didn't get to witness it, it was I think every FRC person's dream strangely come true, and many are calling it the first waterworks. So on the daily field, if you didn't see, we got to experience something quite unique. It was raining all weekend. I mean, there were very heavy rains all weekend in St. Louis. Yeah, and there was some roof leakage coming through. We're actually seeing it here. And you guys MacGyvered essentially this tarp as there was leakage on Daily. Is it Daily or Dolly? I never got that, by the way.
I think it's Daily, but I don't know. That's a great question. I always said Daily.
So, Frank, I witnessed you. You were right in the action here about it. Actually, I think you're in this picture of helping MacGyver this rain tarp. So talk about. Can you talk a little about what was going on there and kind of what was the thought process? Like, was this like a planned thing, like in your flow chart? Like, if this happens, we do this?
No, this was not. I'll tell you, this was not in anybody's flow chart. I'll tell you that right now. We had seen some leaks even the day before, and but they weren't directly on the field. They were kind of like maybe back towards the driver's station or in other parts that we didn't really have to worry too much. We just put out some trash cans and that was okay. But in this case, we started to see drips on the daily field itself, even directly on a robot. And we said, well, we can't operate like this. So we spent some time talking about it. We just decided the best way. We got a hold of Show Ready Events, who's ever present there at St. Louis Championship, and it really makes things very important. And we said, let's grab some. So they said, well, we could get some clear plastic, and we got some of the folks from the venue, and then we borrowed we found a networking cable that was long enough. We had
not rope, by the way. You had a million teams with rope available. Just saying.
We thought about asking the teams for rope, but we thought if we did that, well, they would say, well, is Velcro okay? What if adhesive
no marker on that rope either.
Right, you told them to put markers on it, and we said, we're just gonna skip all that and go right to the network cable. And it seemed to work pretty good. And also what we did actually was we brought the 6 pilots that happened to be in that, 6 designated pilots from that particular match where we started. We actually brought them up onto the airship and had them take a look and said, okay, is this visible for you? Can it work for you? Can it not work for you? They said it was okay. One had made a comment that maybe the plastic on the right end was a little harder to see, could be shortened. So we went out, and I don't know if we did it that match or the following match, but we kind of trimmed that down. We went back into the driver's station itself, and we saw that it wasn't ideal. I mean, it wasn't perfect. You couldn't see through the plastic really clearly to see the scoreboard. But if you took a step back, you could see what was going on and still stay within the rules. Take a step back, see what was going on up above. And we even had someone back there because someone had made a comment they weren't sure that they were going to be able to see the rotors rotating. So we actually had someone back there that was calling out the rotors as they were rotating. You say, 2 rotors, 3 rotors, 4 rotors, whatever it was. And so in the end, it seemed to work okay. It wasn't the greatest thing, but we were able to get the matches going, and the teams were really, really helpful in being kind of working with us and being flexible and realizing, hey, we know this isn't the ideal situation, but it's kind of where we are, and we want to keep going so that we don't want Daly to be late to Einstein. That was one of the things that was always in the back of our minds, is that we don't want any alliances making it late because they've got to do calibration, we've got to do those comm checks, and we don't want anybody to be rushed on the field when they're getting ready for the big dance in Einstein.
Absolutely. Hey, Mike, let's move into some of our submitted questions from Chief Delphi.
Sure. So first, Emily from FRC1058, the PVC Pirates, she asked, did you expect floor pickup, the master race that happened around weeks 1 to 3, where everyone rebuilt their floor pickups to be like 78? Did you kind of expect that to happen?
We're expecting floor pickups, yeah.
I'll say, as a rule of thumb, we expect that sort of both designs and strategy will have some level of convergence as the season goes along. I don't recall in any game design meetings where someone or a couple folks said, hey, these floor pickups, people are going to start building those. I don't recall that particular discussion, although it may have happened. But I'll just say, as I said, it's not unexpected from our standpoint when we see these designs start to converge, especially when you have influences like Robot in 3 Days, where people can get a good look and say, oh, that design kind of works for me. Maybe I'll do something like that. Or as our broadcasting gets better in terms of the number of the fields that we're showing, really there's a lot of places that you can look to see top teams sort of early on and what they're doing, and if you have the interest in the withholding allowance, you can make something similar.
So real quick, a side question. I forgot this got asked in chat. I think it was important. So you talked about at St. Louis with show ready events. Do you know, are we expecting to see show ready events in Detroit as well, or is that not figured out yet?
I don't know what the plan is there. There may be a plan, but I don't know what it is. I'll just be honest. I don't know that level of detail.
Yeah, fair. We do have Josh from FRC3966, L&M STEM Punks, asking about with 2 championships specifically for Houston. Originally, in the announcement for Houston, there was in the opening ceremonies, it was said that this would take place at the Toyota Center. So what happened at the Toyota Center? It did not happen there. So what's the background story behind that?
So we had looked at the Toyota Center, and because being a basketball arena, kind of more suited, pretty well suited for us in terms of like an opening ceremony. Mm-hmm. And what I understand is that we did have a contract with an exit clause on it. And the reason we needed that exit clause is because if the Houston Rockets were to make the playoffs, as they did, anything they do would overrule anything that we did. We could have a contract with them that said, okay, we're going to be setting up on this day, we're going to have the event on this day, and if they need that stadium for their playoffs, we don't go. And we can't have that, obviously can't have that arrangement where things can change on us last minute. And so we opted our exit clause and said, yep, we're just because the way things are looking now, we can't be certain that venue is going to be available. So we're going to need to go elsewhere. And where we went elsewhere was to the Green. So we didn't really have an opening ceremony in Houston. And we'll see what the surveys come back like. But from what I saw, the team seemed to be having a pretty good time. So but we'll see what that looks like. It was an alternate model for us. We knew it was a trial. We're going to see what people thought.
Gotcha. So as we continue talking about these new things, Detroit is going to be something that's brand new. And it's not that we have a question from Isaac from Michigan. Before I get to this question, I just want to say it's not that Houston doesn't have this, but there is a very, very high density of FRC teams in Michigan.
Yeah.
So Isaac is asking, what help does FIRST need in order to ensure that Detroit does not encounter some of those problems that Houston experienced? And I'll kind of add, or maybe you can just talk to, have you been to the venue in Detroit? Are you excited for that move? And what can teams expect?
I have been to the venues in Detroit. I was part of the group that went out to review potential championship locations a few years ago, and it's looking pretty good in terms of what help we need. We obviously are going to take the lessons we learned from Houston in terms of making sure that the venues that we go to understand what the volume of folks that we're going to need to transit through into their seats and the amount of time that we have. It's more of an internal need for us to just make sure that all our I's are dotted and our T's are crossed, that we can help the venues understand this very different experience that they're likely to have. It's not a ball game. It's not a concert. It's something very different. In terms of what support we need, we're going to need, just like we needed in Houston, we're going to need lots of volunteers. And it is great that Michigan is so dense with FRC teams, because I imagine we're going to have no shortage there. And the more volunteers we can get to help set up fields, especially at the start of the event, that's going to be a real advantage for us.
Are you saying the field is very involved next year?
I am not saying that.
Wow.
It better not be more involved in this one, because I am out. I am out. No,
that's funny.
It won't be. I mean, we're very aware of how complicated the field was. I mean, it looked great, fun game to play. I think we're getting lots of positive feedback on the game itself. But boy, that was 12, 16, 24-hour field builds are not what we're looking. Typically, we target 5 hours. That for us is that's a good field build. We do it in 5 hours. That's a reasonable amount of time, and that's what we're going to be looking for 2018.
Cool. So you've kind of mentioned it a couple of times with the feedback survey. So Insanity from New York on Chief.fi asked, what is FRCT doing to improve their communications with the community to ensure that our feedback is valued and considered? And what is FRCT doing to help keep its customers in the loop?
Sure. So I personally greatly value the feedback that I get from the community, whether it's in the form of surveys or folks sending me individual emails about their thoughts. Really filling out those surveys is very important because there are just so many. I mean, when you look at the estimated size of number of team members that we have in FRC with about 3,000 plus teams, it's like 85,000 folks that are involved. And surveys are a great way to do it. I'll tell you, we also target feedback to specific groups. As an example, before we went out and before we decided to not make any changes to gameplay at Championship, we looped back to our rules review committee and we said, hey, what do you all think? And we got back some very, very thoughtful, in-depth, sort of responses. And it turned out that they were pretty much thinking along the same lines that we were in terms of, we don't know if we should make any changes going into Championship. It's not, the game isn't playing exactly as we expected it to, and we expected honestly more fuel scoring. I think that's pretty obvious. And if we had everything to do over again, we probably would have changed around those fuel points. But that's not the kind of thing that you would change sort of at the end of the Championship, because it would be such a significant change to the game itself. I think some teams would feel cheated. It's like, well, you gave us this rule set. We designed this rule set. We're doing well with this rule set, and now you're going to give us a different game that we don't have time to adjust to. So we're just very cautious anytime we make those kind of changes. But that's an example of the kind of targeted feedback we look for. Another example, at Championship itself, we had our Hall of Fame team meeting, and we're very interested at the Festival of Champions to make sure that the new Chairman's Award winners are honored and valued as having received the highest award in FRCT. And we want to make sure we know that that's something we're going to have to work hard on, because you are going to have this very shiny thing going on with these two top alliances playing off that is really going to get a lot of attention. And how do we make sure that our new Chairman's Award teams also receive the attention and accolades that they deserve? So we've reached out to the Hall of Fame teams, and they're going to be providing us that, kind of a list of things that they think that we can do to kind of make sure that we reach that goal.
All right, Justin, we had one more question, and we're going to wrap up with Frank here.
Yep. So I just want to say, from a team perspective, I'm on Team 3015. I went through just 4 months of Steamworks. We really enjoyed the game. We had a great time with it. It presented us with a great engineering challenge. So I just wanted, real quick, before I let you go, for you to talk a little bit about, what did you think of Steamworks? Think 4 months ago, or for you, it's 6-8 months ago when you were first kind of envisioning how Steamworks would be played out. Are you happy with the game? And maybe what is just maybe one change you kind of might regret a little bit?
I am very happy with the game. I think some of the highlights for me personally is getting human players right on the field and actively involved. I think that's something that we've been kind of talking about for a while. How do we do this? How do we do it safely? And how do we do it in a way that they have something meaningful to do, and they're not just there for show? They really have something to contribute to the game. So I think, in my mind, that was a win. I love to see the robots climbing a flexible rope at the end. I think that was an interesting challenge, and always kind of led to some exciting end games. If we were to go back and we could rewind time, we probably would take a look at those points for fuel and see what might be able to do adjust there. So to encourage more teams to kind of go for that, and maybe that would have been increasing the value of the low efficiency boiler points or something along those lines. But I think that if there was one thing that we didn't see as much of as we were hoping to, it's scoring in those boilers, which of course is, especially in the high goal, is very exciting. So maybe making it giving that boiler more of a backboard, making it a little easier, making the opening a little bigger, all these things. You could always Monday morning quarterback yourself and say, go back and say, wow, if we made all these changes, it would have been. But I think it was a good game, and the surveys that we're seeing from the teams, that they're agreeing for the most part. Very, very good game, and I'm very pleased with the season with those exceptions.
And by the way, at least KPA wasn't 150. Just saying. So,
right.
rules review
that would have been
Jared
awful.
said that.
Yeah,
it would have been awful. Oh, yeah.
Nobody would be doing it then. So maybe a couple. Hey, Frank, thank you so much for coming on. Of course, Director of FRC. Thank you for all your hard work. And on behalf of all of us at Fun, we love having you on, and you've been a huge asset for us to build as a community as well, too. So thank you for that.
Thanks so much. I love being on. Just have me, invite me anytime, guys. Love to join.
All right, you got it. I got to ask you one last thing. So now that 2017 season's over, right? Yeah. The main season's over. You're going back to work at what? 5 a.m, whatever you do tomorrow.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
What's next for Frank Merritt? Like, what's next on the docket or agenda for you?
Big focus on the Festival of Champions. We have lots of details to work out there. I sent out an email to all our qualified teams for the festival, either a day or two after they qualified, whether it was Houston or St. Louis, and said, hey, save these dates. We have some more information coming for you, but we've got lots of details to work out there. But I think it's going to be just fun and exciting. And I personally believe that these teams are going to have an experience they will never forget.
Absolutely. By the way, our chat has this weird fetish with what type of pizza, like the crust type. So what's your favorite like crust of pizza?
I'll tell you, I just like plain old wheat crust, not whole wheat crust, but just plain old, I guess
like a New York slice or something, or what?
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Right. That's exactly it. Big old slice of pizza you got to fold in half.
Yeah,
man,
that's my guy.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Oh man, that's it. I'm getting hungry.
There you go.
Well, Frank, thanks so much for coming on once again. We know we'll have you on again, but it's never soon enough. So thanks for coming on, buddy.
Thanks so much, guys. We'll
Thank you so much, Frank. We'll see you later.
Have a good night, sir.
Bye.
Awesome. Good guy, Frank, man.
Good guy, Frank. Always comes through.
He really did.
He does, always. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. So thanks again to Frank for coming on that show. And up next, we're going to kind of recap each St. Louis division one by one. We'll all take one or two divisions. And after that, we'll go over that kind of composite top 25. So with that, Justin, you'll be leading us off. What division are you going to start us off with?
I think I'm going to talk about Tesla here in a second once I get my mouse situation figured out. In Tesla. All right, so the Tesla division featured a few top 25 teams, including 148, 469, and 2168, among others. Every one of the 60-plus teams in the division expected to see one of these teams atop the rankings, and after each had played 10, nobody was surprised to see Michigan Power 469 atop the rankings. They picked 148 and went at 34, 64, and 51 to round out their alliance. The teams played well in the quarterfinal rounds, but the number one alliance met trouble in the semifinal round. 469 faced mechanical issues that could not be repaired, and the alliance captain had to be replaced, and the alliance as a whole just could not recover. Excuse me. They were defeated. They blew up a gearbox, come to find out. Been there. They were defeated by the number 4 alliance of 3452, 3683, 2084, and 2537, who themselves would head to the finals. From the other side of the bracket, the upsets would continue as both the number 6 and 7 alliances would advance out of the quarterfinal rounds, with the number 6 alliance of 2619, 3130, 193, and 4485 would advance to the finals. In match 1 of those Tesla finals, no fuel was scored in autonomous and only 4 KPA and Teleop, just to kind of break that tie. The orders were even, and it came down to climbs. 2 climbs by red and 1 by blue gave the number 4 alliance the advantage in the series 1-0. In match 2, a little fuel in the high goal with the number 6 alliance in blue, and 52 balls scored in the low boiler, totaling 5 points to offset a potential tie and give them a slight lead. Once again, however, it was the climbs that made the difference. The Red Alliance got all 3 robots up to just 2, and the Blue Alliance to send to 3452, 3683, 2084, and 2537 to the Einstein Field.
Well, very cool. That was Tesla. Over to Curie. So heading into to St. Louis, we had two teams that were from the top 25 represented in the Curie field, those being 2056 and 2481, ranked second and ninth on the top 25 poll, the St. Louis one. After 10 qualification matches, it was these two teams who went 1 and 2 atop the rankings. 2056 OP Robotics had a 2.9 ranking score average, and 2481 the Roboteers had a 2.6. That all being said, 2056 elected to not go with 2481, and they formed their own alliance with fellow Canadian team 1241 Theory 6, 384 Sparky, and 1511 Rolling Thunder. Side note, 384, which was the third robot, the second pick of the number one alliance, won the Chesapeake District Championship, and they also had 2 district wins. Their fourth robot, 1511, won Midwest Regional. That's like scouting, and that's why these teams win like they do, because they do their homework. And I was just shocked to see that 384 was still around with that.
Or 1511.
Yeah, with that history, right?
Yeah.
So this alliance, we're kind of going to jump ahead to the finals. So this alliance would end up winning the division, never scoring below 519, and they topped out at 605, which was penalized. So the unpenalized was 530, and that alliance would advance to Einstein eventually. But that being said, back to the 2481 alliance, they had 2791, 203, and 1807. They would unfortunately go down in the quarterfinals against the number 7 alliance. In the finals of the division, that number 1 alliance would see the number 6 alliance of 4917, 4946, 2169, and 3929. The number 7 alliance would put up 451, and with less than 40 kPa and less than 4 rotors in finals too, just couldn't take the win there. So congrats to that number 1 alliance again, 2056, 1241, 384, and 1511. They would represent Curie on Einstein. So Tyler, let's talk about
Archimedes. All right, Archimedes. We're going to break down this a little bit further because there were some crazy semifinal and final matches. And then we actually have somebody from the division coming on in just a little bit as well. But what a fantastic division. They brought some fuel scores and, of course, a lot of great gear bots as well. Top C was closely contested and tied in ranking points, but it was 1058, the PVC Pirates, who would take the tiebreaker with just 54 more match points over 225 Techfire, and they would secure the number 1 seed. 1058 would go on to pick the number 3 seed at 67, the Hot Team, and round up with notable teams 1640 Sabotage and 2017 Torque. This alliance was unable to score really much more than the initial 10 fuel. They were able to get a few more kPa otherwise, but so 67 scoring that in autonomous usually. But they would work their way into the semifinals to face the number 4 alliance at 2337, 2363, 2611, and 222. Semifinal 1. Match number 1 was brutal. 67 and 2337 suffered tough blows to their bot that knocked out both robots for the next match. So both alliances calling in their backup robots. Red did take the first match, and blue with the backup in would take the second match. Let's talk about semifinal 3. Semifinal 3 looked like both 67 and 2337 would be out again, but last moment 67 was able to make it on the field, and blue held the lead in that match, though starting out, blue held the lead thanks to 2363 Triple Helix's auto, but near the end of the match, 2137 Torque for the Red Alliance scored fuel and secured Red in the finals by just 3 points. The score 455 to 452. So we're ready to move on to face the number 2 Blue Alliance at 225, 558, 6334, and 865, who in 3 out of the 4 elimination matches played so far were both able to secure the KPA bonus and 4 rotors. So objectively looking in, it really looked like blue might have had a good advantage moving to the finals. But match 1 was a bit surprising, really, as Blue Alliance did not score any KP in auto, while the Red Alliance missed their auto rotor. Both alliances were able to secure 4 rotors, but a few KP and teleop in the auto bonus. Blue Alliance took the first match 454 to 444. Red Alliance would just keep playing their game, though, and consistency is really what came through. We've always talked about this. Consistency is what wins championships, or in divisions in this case. First climb works is what hindered blue in match 2, as Techfire was not able to climb, and Red Alliance would take match 2 455 to 413. Match 3 was a very close match. Red Alliance won by a 5-point penalty due to 558 disconnecting a divider that Red Alliance was awarded a penalty for. After review, though, it was determined that 558 was pushed into the divider by the Red Alliance robot, which actually overturned the penalty and technically awarded the match and the division to Blue. But due to the divider being disconnected and prohibiting 2137 the Red Alliance from climbing, after all this drama, it was just determined that Finals Match 3 would be replayed. The Mastery replay was a different story. Red Alliance played smart strategy and prohibited the Blue Alliance from scoring 4 rotors and trying to rush to secure their 4th rotor. 2 robots on the Blue Alliance did not have enough time to climb, and the Archimedes division would go to Red with a final score of 458 to 219. So before we move on to Darwin, we do have a caller that we'd like to bring in, one of our viewers as well that we're delighted to have on, and that's going to be Retum from 865 Warp 7. So let's get him on here and bring him in the show and ask him about his experience on the Archimedes division, and of course his team's experience as well. Let's see if we can get him on there. Retum, you there? Maybe. Bring.
Boom, boom, boom.
Prior proper planning.
Christine, how's it going over there?
It's going pretty good. Working on some blue bumpers.
A side note, I saw 1114 had the blue bumpers on it. One of their matches I think we saw from Hospitality. I was like, that just doesn't look right.
Just like when you see 254 in red.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like seeing Taylor, who used to be on 1114, wear this 254 blue. I'm like, something doesn't look right.
All right, we're going to give him one more chance to hop on here, then we're going to have to move on. This is the beauty of Skype sometimes, and the beauty that you get to watch live. But thank you, by the way, everybody. We've gotten quite a few subscribers already today, so thank you to all the subscribers so far coming in, helping support the program. We did just get 2 new emotes thanks to the new sub levels that have been initiated by Twitch. So thank you for that. We'll be getting a couple new cool emotes out there, and we do have some plans for summer. We're gonna work on it. We're gonna be testing out some new things that we're planning for our next season. So we're still going to be running during summer. Thank you to everybody who's helping support this show. All right, we're going to give him one more shot here, and then we're going to have to move on, unfortunately. Yeah, another sub right there, Dirt Bikers XC. 3 months in a row. Look at you, get your little red fancy badge now. That's what it's about.
I want a fancy badge.
Well, then
do I have one?
Give us some
I
money,
do.
Dude.
2 months.
Like, look, do I have one?
It is re-up today.
Oh. All right. I think let's move on to the next division. If we get them in, then we'll hop back to Archimedes, Justin.
Sounds good. So the Darwin division features some of the best fuel scores in FRC with consistent high boiler autonomouses displayed by 1986, 3310, and 1114. When the qualification matches were over, 1986 took the top spot, and they picked up fellow boiler shooter 3310 and would add 302 and 3719 to build an alliance capable of lots of fuel and lots of gears. This alliance put their dominance on display early and often, winning their first match of the quarterfinals by over 200 points and breezing through the semifinal rounds with 2 match scores of over 530 to advance to the finals. On the other side of the bracket, playing out like you might expect, we would see the number 2 alliance of 1114, 610, 359. How 359 fell all the way to the number 2 alliance, I'll never know. And 636 or 6387. Their advancement wasn't as easy as the number 1 alliance, as their second quarterfinal match had them losing, sending them to a must-win rubber match just to get out of the quarters. However, they were able to sneak out a 513 to 478 victory to move on and found the groove in the semifinal rounds with scores of 518 and 520 to easily advance to the finals to face that strong number 1 alliance. In finals match 1, the fuel was flying on both sides, 50 for the number 1 alliance, 31 for the number 2 alliance and autonomous. The number 2 alliance struggled a little bit after that, however, failing. Sorry.
Oh no.
failing to get that pressure bonus, which was basically required at this point, especially against the tough number 1 Alliance, and then missing a climb gave match 1 to the Red Alliance. Match 2 played out in a very similar fashion. The number 1 Alliance again achieved that KPA bonus in autonomous, scoring 41 kilopascals of pressure. They got 4 rotors, they got 3 climbs, and at that point, it's pretty much all over. The number 1 Alliance again earned the win. Great matches were played by both, but it would be 1986, 3310 Blackhawk Robotics, and 3719 and 302 who would advance to the Einstein field.
Justin Caltrans, by the way, asking the real question. Is there going to show you where you are not dying?
I think I'm doing much better. I would describe this as good, not great.
Good, not great.
Good, not
you haven't muted yourself and tried talking yet, by the way.
That's true.
Also true.
Good track record so far.
Lots of positives right now. I love it.
Awesome. By the way, we got a special division analyst or division coverage person here. Well, she's pretty amazing. She made us some awesome can koozies, by the way, for championships. So we just gotta. I wish I had mine with me because I'd like to show it. So, but hey, Christine, you guys were on Carson with 125, and you did all right. So
yeah, I guess we did okay.
Figured bring you on and have you talk about this division and give us the breakdown here.
Yeah, definitely. So the Carson division was made up of 68 teams that collectively produced the highest average OPR of any championship division from both Houston and St. Louis. The story going into championship was which one of the elite fuel shooting robots, 125, 195, 33, or 2451, would be able to outgun the others for the number 1 seed. After 10 qualification matches, though, we saw the test team, Team 303, take the number 1 spot. The test team faced declines from their first 3 invites and effectively scorched the division to the point where their students were chanting, "Scorch the field." Scorched the division by forcing Team 195, the Cyber Knights, Team 33, the Killer Bees, and Team 125, the Neutrons, to play separately before selecting Team 2451, Ponage. After intense semifinals on both sides of the bracket that saw the number 3 Alliance, led by the Neutrons, take down the number 2, led by Team 33, the Killer Bees, and the number 5 Alliance, led by the Cyber Knights, to take down the number 1 Alliance, led by Team 303. The stage was set for a New England Championship semifinal rematch. The number 3 Alliance, led by the Neutrons, selected Team 5687, the Outliers, Team 1796, Robo Tigers, and Team 597, the Wolverines, to play with them and produced a formidable...
Let's let Christine finish here, man. Hold on.
And produced a formidable combination. Final one was a match for the ages that featured an epic shootout with both alliances reaching 4 rotors with plenty of time remaining, and teams 125 and 195 trading KPA back and forth until the final seconds. The number 3 Alliance prevailed in that match, 523 to 518. The 125 Alliance came out strong again in Finals 2 to earn the victory and move on to Einstein. The number 3 Alliance did not lose a playoff match on Carson as they rounded up the divisions to move on to Einstein.
So, while we have, let's hop back here. It looks like we do have Retum on from 865 Warp 7. So there we go. Might have to zoom out a little bit there, buddy. There we go. How's it going, man? Thanks for coming on. Sorry about those technical difficulties there.
I'm sorry. It's actually my fault. Somehow my laptop was trying to mess up. I tried to answer your calls, but it was crashing and it made me sign out.
Well, you're good, man. Don't worry about it. So why don't you, we only do have a few minutes, so why don't you give us a breakdown of your team on Archimedes? You guys did quite well.
Okay, so our robot is kind of like 1114 robot. We do high bowler, high fuel, and delivery gears. And I did not go to World Champs because I had to focus on my studies. I saw the live stream and we actually did really good.
Yeah, you did.
We ended up being division final. Yeah, we were Alliance. And I gotta give props to my team for doing an amazing job. I wasn't there. I give every credit to my team. Even though I didn't go, they did an amazing job. This is our best year ever. We have a record.
Why don't you talk about as your team is You guys have done a lot of improvement. What do you think really improved from you guys to get into the championships, to be part of the Finalist Alliance? Where was that improvement? What took place for that?
Okay, so what I can say is so 2015 and 2016 we had a new driver because our previous driver graduated from high school, and the driver is like in the same grade as me. So at 2015 Visaka Rush was his rookie year. He did good, but probably one thing I would say that he didn't get like enough driver's practice. Like, I'm not being rude to him, but I see kind of like driver's practice. And same goes for 2016, because our competition was like early in March. Here in 2017, we did not decide to go to like an early competition, but like I believe it was a week 3 event. So it was at Georgian College, and our driver got like lots of driver practice, and I guess great props to him.
So would you say that district events benefited you guys a lot with that?
Practice, and we actually I was very happy that we had district. I never knew about district until 2015, 2015 off season, where I was going to the Alliance page, and I saw districts, and I checked it out, and I asked my team members what are districts. They talk about it's an easier and faster way to get to chance, and you go chance by, and luckily we got districts this year, where
absolutely, man.
It was really fun. I actually enjoyed districts more than going to regional. It comes last. That's what
Hey, Reachum, I'm sorry, dude. You're lagging
it
quite a bit here, so we're going to have to move on, unfortunately. So I appreciate you coming on, and best of luck. 865 moving forward. You guys had a fantastic season, and I'll look forward to seeing more out of 865. Thanks a lot, buddy.
All right, see ya. Have a good day. Bye.
Thanks a lot.
Man, you too. Awesome, cool.
So we got one more division to cover, if I remember correctly, and then we're moving on to Einstein. Is that right?
It is, yeah.
So who's which one are we missing? The daily division?
Daily, yeah. So
who gets to cover that one?
That was supposed to be me, but kind of forgot to. So we're gonna tag team all this together.
Homework. We do it together. I get there's a couple of good teams on the division anyway.
Oh, there were. So I mean, daily was obviously a huge interest all weekend. There being 254, 4976 who made the top 25. That's the Rebels, in 2062. That's core. Throughout it stood for a while. I think it was the current unpenalized high score that 555 match.
Well, the 555 was from noon division, but there was the highest qual match in daily. That was 466 with 254 and strike force. So who's strike force, and then 3618 sounds right. Petoskey Paladins, they've scored 101 KPA, dude. I mean, it was insane. It was absolutely nuts to be able to see that. And that would have been, had that been a playoff match, I think that would have been over 600 points.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty near.
Would have been awesome. So we kind of got that preview of our we got the preview of the Einstein Alliance there with Strike Force and 254, who would end up going and picking each other there.
So an interesting thing to point out, so 2767 seeded first, 254 seeded second. I think there was a lot of questions if 254 was going to accept 2767 Strike Force. And to me, it made sense. I mean, they had the highest unpenalized score in quals together. So they worked together, they had experience. And really the question had been, if not for 2767, if you're 254, who else do you go with, knowing that they're going to pick another team ahead of you as well, too? That's going to form such a great alliance for that. So I don't know if I could have really thought anybody that would have been a better partner for 254. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't see any others there that
there's definitely there's good teams. I just don't know.
Oh, for sure. No, I think
right?
it was obviously it was the best call to make as seeing the end result, but so it was cool. So in the finals, we would see that number one alliance with 862 and 1676 face off against the number 3 alliance of 4976, the Rebels, who we just talked about, 27 Rush, 4678, and 2614. That only went to two matches there in the finals and scores of 371 and 355. That number one alliance would then advance on to Einstein from there.
What I want to talk about how cool it is, by the way, that 4976, the Rebels, a team that I don't think many people really knew about at all. They end up being in the top 25 for St. Louis, and they end up being the number 3 alliance captain and ended up moving into the finals. So that was, that was insane. That was so cool to be able to see that team. Mike, you and I stopped down when we handed out the FRCTop25 sticker to them and talked to that team for a bit. And you could just see that just how excited they were just to be in the position that they were. But they, at the same time, they were handling it in a very professional, mature way as well. So I want to give a lot of kudos to 4976 for just, for being in a position that I don't think they've been in before. And I could be mistaken on that. But to me, they handled it so well and definitely made a deep run to face off against the Red Alliance. And by the way, just to point out in the finals, this was a pretty big defensive battle here. You had scores, the winning scores were 371 and 355. When you look at what these alliances are capable of doing, and you have 550 being scored by the Strikeforce Poofs Alliance, that in the finals you have 371 and 355. That's a pretty darn close matchup in the finals. 2 matches, 355 to 334. So that was obviously very close. And they definitely gave them a run for their money. So it was, it was interesting to see, and great job, of course, to the division winners moving on. But I really got to give some awesome props to 4976, the Rebels, a team that before this year I've never heard of before, and now they're definitely on my radar moving in the future.
Very cool.
All right, so let's move on to Einstein here. We're gonna assume that most of you hopefully watch St. Louis Champs. The reason why we cover divisions is because you don't get to watch all the divisions, and most of us, especially Mike and I, who weren't active with the team, we were walking around the fields the whole time. So we wanted to give you our perspectives on what was going on there, and of course, Justin and I almost said Christina. I'm not going to do it with Christine being on their fields, giving us their perspectives as well too. So on Einstein, we're gonna discuss more about Einstein in particular, kind of an open discussion about some of the things that have happened on Einstein, both good and bad. But the couple things I want to note before we get into those discussions. So the round robin this year was a new thing implemented. We've seen, if you've been in Vex, you've seen the round robin before, but this is new for first. And one thing to mention with the round robin that was really cool and interesting, but also kind of like disappointing at the same time, is that 4 alliances tied for the number 1 spot. There's 4 alliances at 3 and 2. And the tiebreaker being match points. So that moved on the Darwin and the Daly Alliance. So Darwin 1986, 3310, 302, 3719, and on Daly 2767, 254, 862, and 1676. So we're going to talk about the round robin and the effects of that and all that in just a little bit. But if you didn't see the finals, these were, every year we see what the pinnacle of the game is in the finals, right? And these finals I thought were absolutely spectacular. Finals match 1, you had back and forth with that. 1986, arguably one of the best autonomous shooters ever, had a little bit of issues. It could have been the Red Hopper. It could have been something else. Who knows? But only getting 9 pressure points in match number 1 out of 37 for the Blue Alliance. Both alliances getting 4 rotors. The Blue Alliance getting the pressure achieved as well, too. And Blue Alliance took the first match, 494 to 478. Match 2, though, to me, was one of the best matches I've ever seen in Steamworks. You had a combined score of, 1,089? So 1,089 points combined score between these two. Both alliances getting 20 pressure. Both alliances getting all 4 rotors. 5 points in fouls for each alliance as well. And it came down to the Blue Alliance getting 2 rotors in autonomous, making a big difference. So Red got 48 pressure in autonomous to Blue 31, but Blue Alliance able to get 2 rotors in autonomous. And to me, that was just the awesomeness of this game at the end here. You had, the amazing feel of the Red Alliance and that amazing autonomous that they have. Blue Alliance brought it in teleop with their fuel and pressure, tying the Red Alliance in pressure, both in teleop and then getting the two rotors, of course, engaged in autonomous. That really led a cool back and forth that just showed an awesome, fantastic final. So congratulations, of course, to the Winnie Alliance, the Daily Alliance, our Daily Division, 2767 Strike Force, 254 Cheesy Poofs, 862 Lightning Robotics, and 1676 Pascack Pioneers. By the way, I can now say 1676 and not be mistaken for 1678, which is what I usually do. 1676 World Champions, by the way. Absolutely phenomenal. Congratulations, of course, to Ryan and all the supporters we have from that team for being world champions. Congratulations to you.
Yeah. It was, man, it was an exciting 15 matches. Like when you're looking at it, like, man, 15 matches is a long time. But the way they did it in like those groups of, what was it, groups of 4? Groups of 5 matches?
Yeah, five. There was 5 rounds. Yep.
5 rounds of 3. Yes. 5 rounds of 3. Yes, that's 6. Yes. Yeah, math is hard. It was just so exciting. Like each division brought like a different level of play, different strengths, and just watching them play against each other was really cool, and I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed it. There was a division or two where you just thought they couldn't really keep up with some of the other divisions, but the way this game works, man, you just never know. And it was competitive all the way around, and it was just really, really, really fun to watch.
Yeah, I was sitting up in the stands for those final matches, and I was at when I talk about the top of the dome, I was at the top of the dome. So I really had a cool perspective though on the field, and a cool perspective of the audience. And man, before each and every match, you could visibly see everybody in the whole stadium kind of get up on the edge of their seat. They were excited to watch those final matches. And man, that finals match too might have been the best match I've ever seen in FRC ever. It was just so freaking awesome.
It was back and forth, man. It was cool.
Back and forth. There was fuel being scored at all points of the match. It wasn't just in the autonomous mode. And 254 and Strike Force just unloading on that boiler with less than 30 seconds to play to put the score back up in their favor. It was just an awesome, awesome job. And you can ask for a better final set of matches.
Absolutely. Hey, before we get into some discussions about St. Louis recap, we also do want to congratulate, of course, the Chairman's Award finalists, 1885 and 2169, and the winner of the Chairman's Award for the St. Louis Championships, 2614 Mars from West Virginia. So, man, congratulations. That video was really cool by Mars. I was very inspired when I watched
Tyler,
that.
we were sitting next to each other for all of Einstein, and when that video came across, we're like, man, this is sweet. Like it just was well done.
It got you pumped, right? It gives you it resets you and be like, man, this is why we do this stuff, right? Because you get to do this inspiration that these kids have, and you look at what they're able to do. And that was just absolutely amazing. Hey, do also want to congratulate Jacob Kamar for Volunteer of the Year Award. And we congratulated Glenn last week, but I'm going to give him an extra special congratulations since he actually got his award in St. Louis finally. But Glenn Lee, good buddy of ours from 359, congratulations, buddy, for the Woody Flowers. I mean, I shouldn't even say congratulations because that's just an earned award. I mean, all these are, right? They're such phenomenal people that just do what they do because they love what they do, and it's just so cool to see them recognized for this as well.
Definitely.
All right, guys, let's talk a little bit about, before we move on to top 25, let's give a little discussions about St. Louis here. And some things I wanted to bring up and just kind of get your opinions on, neither good or bad. It could be either way. First thing, let's talk about round robin. So as mentioned before, we played 5 rounds, 3 matches each. And there's 2 things I want to talk about is what is your impression of round robin? Did you like it overall? Did you like the flow? And then one of my big things I want to bring up was the tiebreaker for round robin. I think one of the issues I had with that is that it very much so discouraged defense from being played because based on tiebreaker being match points, you were essentially penalized if you tried playing defense and you didn't win out on your matches or win over the other one. So, Justin, why don't we start with you, man? What was your thought on round robins overall and then the tiebreaker for it as well, too?
So I love the round robin. I really thought it was cool to see each alliance play out each other alliance. In the past, it's always been, especially if we go back far, it was, Archimedes plays Curie, Newman plays Galileo. So you never really get to see a lot of cross-division play. So I really, really enjoyed seeing all the match strategies and all the teams and playing each other and how they changed. All that sort of stuff was really cool. And I guess I kind of got from the way you mentioned it that you didn't like the cumulative match to be the first sort. Is that correct?
Correct. I didn't like it, no, because I think it only encouraged teams, like if you're looking, of course you always go for the win and you want to be able to win out, but when you had 4 alliances tied for number 1 at 3 and 2, with match points being the tiebreaker there, he essentially encourages teams to only play offense and not go a defensive route, because you're then taking away points from yourself potentially as well.
Which is a fine way to look at it. As a person who deplores defense, I hate teams that, well, we can't do much else, so I guess we can play defense. And I'm not saying that's obviously what happens on the Einstein level. There's strategic defense is certainly a thing. But just beating the crap out of another robot, I don't see a lot of excitement in that. So I like to see that, let's play the game. Let's play offense. Let's score points. And let's let the best alliance win. So from that perspective, I don't really have a problem with that being the first match sort. But what would you like to see maybe differently? What would, if not cumulative match points, what would you have liked to have seen the first order sort be?
Throwing back a question, huh?
Yeah.
I wish I would have thought about this a bit more for something like that, but I don't know. Let me think about it a little bit and come back to it. Let's go to Mike on what his thoughts about round robin were first.
Like I said, I really love the round robin. I think it you get to see each subdivision play each subdivision and kind of, what if, they never got to see that, Daly never got to see Carson, because that's just, not the way the bracket worked out. That was really the Einstein. Well, it gave you the chance to kind of see that. Well, one, you at least guaranteed one match of seeing those two together, but with the potential of both of those actually playing together. And I'm not saying just Daly and Carson, I'm just saying like any combination. So I liked it. Looking back at the tiebreaker, that's how it worked at the regional level of play and district level of play. So I think it's just natural to continue that system going forward. I do see what you're saying though, Tyler, about like change maybe some of the strategy and less defense, but that is kind of what we wish. We wish that the game, is played out the way it's supposed to be played out. I'm not saying that, you just let everybody run by, there's defense played. And if you look back at the matches, I just pulled one up, in 27-67 with their swerve is playing great defense, and I think there's a time and a place for that in this game. But for the fact that it was not just going out and just completely inhibiting the flow of it, I think was nice. But I get kind of like you, I don't know if I have a different suggestion of how to break that tie. But
so Chad's suggesting that, and I do agree with this, is looking at the head-to-head. But how do you break that for 4? So you have a 4-way tie. So I'm wondering how you break head-to-head for that way. And I'm sure somebody much smarter than me can come up with a solution for that. But yeah, I think head-to-head would be
1 versus 4, 2 versus 3, and then go to there.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you just do an extra.
But then you
playoff.
could end up with ties again. I don't know.
No, I like your idea. So if you have a 4-way tie, you then have the number 1 alliance play who's in 4th, have second play 3rd, and those essentially become playing games. That's not a bad idea. I don't even know if you knew you were saying that, but I think that's a fantastic idea.
I don't think it's a bad idea, but you're saying that's only if there are ties, or are you doing that regardless?
No, only if there's ties. I think
so. I think it's a great idea. The only problem is I think First really is so hesitant to put something in the schedule that is potentially outside of their control, right? So to set up these extra few matches, I think is something that they might. I think it's a good idea. I just think maybe they looked at that and said, you know what, we'd rather go with a predictable sequence of matches.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good idea, though.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Yeah, the 4-way tie, I think, is what made it difficult. If there was, just a singular tie or something like that, I think that would have been a bit easier for that as well. But alrighty, so let's go a couple other things. How about the couple things? So Einstein, there's only one field this year for Einstein. So a couple questions mean is that could there have been 2? And we know there's some ramifications that you would have had to take out perhaps some of the other entertainment that was going on during that. And regardless of that, Einstein not being in the middle of the field bothered me quite a bit. Like it was something like if you were those teams that were seated way far on the side, I mean, it's not Minute Maid, but man, that view was still not that fantastic for that to be able to have it. And it has been that way, when you have the two fields because you still have to play on one. But with one field, I would have really liked to see Einstein in the middle. And then if they put the acrobatics on each side or something like that. So a couple of questions. Doesn't really matter if Einstein's in the middle. And what did you guys think about the entertainment overall? So there was quite a bit of it. So let's recap on that. So there was the trampoline people, which I'm just going to call them that because I don't remember who they were. There was the BMX people with the Yabra thing the whole time. And by the way, always trying to be like, give them applause, give them applause. I felt so bad because there was a lot of people really not clapping. It was just like, I kind of feel bad for these people who are performing. Then you had a couple of the dancers going on. And at the end, we had some other a cappella group or something like that going. So what were your thoughts on the entertainment? And what's your thoughts about Einstein not being in the middle?
Mike can start.
I think Einstein not in the middle is weird. I mean, and granted, I don't think we have much room to complain from where we were, in the hospitality and stuff. I think that's a treat in itself. You know what I mean? So I don't want to be like that. But taking that aside, it is. I just feel like you are discluding some people. And granted, there's a lot of people that end up watching the screens anyway. But the way that some of the screens work do they have the standard webcast where it's like the full field on the bottom and then each like alliance kind of in the upper left and right? Is that how it was on Einstein? I can't remember.
I don't remember.
Because if it is,
we had TVs right in front of us too. But
I know. I think it was like that, and it's so hard to see because it's just that much smaller, and you're that far away. So, Justin, you said you were up top. Were you like were you above the field, or were you on the other side? Where were you in relation to the field?
Luckily for me, I was directly above the field, so I feel like I had a great view, and I never really saw or talked to anyone that was over on the other side, so the view was fine for me. It didn't really bother me that it was in the middle. I thought it was questionable. I was kind of annoyed that it wasn't. It seemed like the only reason why it was off center was to accommodate the acts that were there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. As far as the acts themselves, I do get outside occasionally, so the fact that it was BMX bikes and trampolines wasn't a total turnoff to me, but I don't know how well that played with the average FRC student. I don't want to cast too wide of a net there, but I just feel like, I don't know, people doing backflips on BMX doesn't really necessarily equate to a FRC audience. Neither does really trampolines or singing. Like I guess I don't understand why those groups, why that entertainment. I think ideally, what I would like to see is FRC must have such a wide alumni network, and maybe First thinks speeches are boring, but if you get some really good speakers and then that say, can talk to these students and say, look, I was on an FRC team. This is what I do now. Check out the cool stuff that I'm doing. Get a passionate speaker in there. That's way more valuable to me than watching somebody do a backflip on a BMX bike. Back in the day, we used to have really awesome speakers. Larry Page from Google was brought in to talk. We had, excuse me, we had George H.W. Bush come in to talk. We had these really powerful speakers that, to me, is way more powerful than guys in snowboards jumping on a trampoline. But that's me.
Yeah, I think
go ahead, Tyler, and then I'll.
I was just going to say, my thing is I don't have anything against those being there, and I can understand, from perspective, it's a general entertainment thing. But every time I saw it, I'm just like, but why? What was the purpose? If the purpose is just hey, let's just give this comprehensive experience and make it look like, hey, we're part of something much bigger. I get that, but on the other hand, how much money does this cost to bring in those a cappella group people where they said they're from New York, so we have to fly them in and stuff? I'd rather pay for some key volunteers personally to be there instead.
Bingo.
For something like that. Yeah. So it's and maybe I'm just being on my Vex poll here because KVs do get their airfare and their hotel and everything covered through Vex, and I think that enhances the experience a lot. But
who really should get their stuff paid for? The practice field czar, whoever's running the practice field, they have, I think, the most difficult job. Everyone wants to be on the practice field. Everyone wants more time. Everyone needs. They have the hardest job.
Yeah.
It is thankless. Absolutely. They're nowhere near the dome, right? They don't even have the benefit of watching matches. It's a thankless job. And there's one guy who was running the wooden practice field all weekend. He was super nice. He was just an awesome guy in a thankless position. And man, if I could take a little bit of money from the BMX people and give it to him to pay to offset his airfare or his hotel, I would have in a second.
Yeah. So they wrapped it up to me, and Mike will get to in a second. It's just like, I get it. It just doesn't seem like a value bet to me. I think there's other things that could have been done. And this was something new for the most part. It has been done before. We didn't have Mandy Moore on stage or anything like that, but it's a new, different thing. I just think in general, like, I get it's festivities, that sort of thing, but we also could have ended 2 hours sooner, and I think that might have been a little more preferable to some people, at least to me. We could have had a couple things, but a couple entertainment things are cool, but I felt like it was a bit too much personally. Mike, what are your wrap up thoughts on that?
I think we had a discussion going in our Slack about this. I think we kind of came to consensus that these were cool, but not like really the appropriate time. And in kind of my opinion, I think these kind of acts were too small for the space. Like the audience was too big. Like these acts would be perfect for like when you go to Six Flags and they have like a, like the kind of the running shows throughout the day, or the state fairs that kind of have, I think that's kind of more the audience that they would appeal to, like where they can kind of get a little more intimate with the crowd and stuff like that. I just think they didn't quite fit the space for championship. I think, Justin, that would be great, kind of having a speaker or two mixed with maybe some type of entertainment. You don't want people to like not get bored, but just to have speaker overload. I think the amount of speaking was definitely less than in years past for closing ceremonies. There was really not a lot of speakers at all. So I think it could have been more. I kind of said there, I thought a perfect entertainment would have been like a magician, because I think that's kind of more captivating, and or like a sleight of hand person that could go into the crowd and have like a rover cam follow them and kind of really entertain people that way, and then entertain people like that are watching on the screens. I thought that would be cool.
By the way, I thought the best act was the guy from opening ceremonies. I thought was the best act overall.
I wasn't there for that.
This guy who was doing like he was dancing and he was doing like robot stuff for a little while. Like, I thought overall that was personally the best act that I saw in all of it. But
another thing I thought was really, really good was less first parodies. The Chairman's Award videos between matches in lieu of first parodies was really, really good. And like people are saying in the chat, give me more FRC history. Like, just freaking play the 2014 Einstein finals. Those were great matches. I'll watch those again before the snowboard trampoline guy. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah. That's all I got to say on that, I guess.
All right. So last thing I want to bring up, I don't know if you guys saw this, by the way. And Nick, if you can bring up this picture, did any of you guys go see the Lego League World Festival going on?
No.
So they moved it back to the pits in St. Louis, in the pit area for it. This is what it looked like, by the way. So I walked down and I took a couple pictures, and there was no seating. Zero.
This was the
seating.
finals of Lego League?
Yeah, this was the World Festival thing going on for Lego League. They literally just put them. They had the pits next to FRC, and it was standing room only. So you just go up, you'd watch your team, and that was it. And to me, like, my biggest issue at first is that what they're running right now is that it's just like these other programs are just pushed off to the side. And that's my biggest issue with 2 championships, the way that it's ran right now, is that instead of doing, and once again, I'm going to get on that Vex poll because I think they're doing it right, is that the way that Vex runs it is that now this year is they have their VRC, their high school, it's middle school, high school, and college is what they do for. It's a part of middle school. They do for 3 days, and they're all in the same area. They're all on the big stage. They all get the opportunity to be on the big stage. And then they bring in their Vex IQ, which is elementary, middle school. Middle school overlaps between both. And then they get to be on the big stage that way. So then you still have, you still have all the teams essentially that have an opportunity to be on the big stage, but even more so because now the two champs are separated that way. So in my opinion, like I just thought that was a horrible way for the represent what First Lego League was, because it is such a cool program, but it's literally pushed off to the side and not represented at all. Like, and I'm not, and of course, First is going to come back and be like, well, hey, we tried putting FTC on Minute Maid Park and that sort of thing. And I think that actually could have worked if there wasn't like a 6-hour delay for things. So, not having these programs in the spotlight, I think, is a big issue. And with continuity between the First programs out there, is that literally these other programs, one's in a completely different location, one's pushed to the side of the pits, and here's FRC up on this mantle. Yes, FRC is the pinnacle program, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be highlighting the other programs that are out there as well. And I think First has really missed the boat on that.
Yeah, I walked through the World Festival, and it was just like, it was bad. Like, I really felt bad for the teams there. I tried to watch a match, like you said, there was no elevated seating. I couldn't see anything, and I don't know. I try to make a conscious effort to go through the FL World Festival because I've coached and judged FL before, so I feel like I have a little bit of more tie to that program than I do FTC. But I just felt like there was no energy. It was just sad. I don't know. It was different.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. But yeah. No, go ahead, Mike.
No, I was just going to say, I didn't know if that was kind of it on that. I was just going to say, before we move on, we should all say something that St. Louis that First did right. Because especially with these threads in Chief Top 5, the list of the post and the things that what we learned is way longer than the thing is of like what we,
Just from a team perspective, it was fantastic. I didn't have a single experience with a bad volunteer. I think that Einstein ran incredibly smooth, minus the entertainment, which I actually enjoyed, by the way. I mean, I just don't think it played well to everyone.
Exactly, right?
I thought it was pretty cool. I think they did most of it fantastic. It was a great way to send out St. Louis. I think the match commentary was okay. Overall, I thought it was really great top to bottom. I think we're really nitpicking on a lot of things because there isn't that awful, like, holy cow, people waited 2 hours to get in the venue kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So overall, it was really, it was fantastic. And I missed Atlanta for a long time. And really kind of didn't like St. Louis. And after that, I was kind of sitting there watching the last few matches. I was like, yeah, I'm going to miss St. Louis. This was a good event. And, the unknown of Detroit looming kind of scared me a little bit.
Yeah. By the way, a couple of people are asking about the Tarpon Daily. We did already talk about this when we had Frank on, so sorry if you missed it. You can watch the recap afterwards.
I really think that the flow of Einstein and the round robin and everything was awesome. I think somebody on, I don't know where I saw it, Twitch or just that they were saying that, there was long delays. I didn't really notice the long delays. I don't think there were any. I just think when you're watching at home and you have nothing else going on, you notice that lag more than when you're there. I think when we were there, we didn't, you didn't feel that it was like long in between matches or long in between the round robin and the final matches or anything like that. I think it just flowed really nice. I think there was a good flow to it, I guess, like I just said. But
so I one thing that I really want to point out that I thought was really cool is that the Founders Award that was given to the city of St. Louis and their playing thing. I really think with the last couple of years, I really liked how St. Louis accommodated us a lot. And even though St. Louis is a city that is generally associated with not being the safest city out there, overall, I thought it was pretty good. There were a couple of trailer break-ins again, and that's unfortunate, but I think I'm going to miss some of the vibe in St. Louis. And Mike, you and I got to discover a couple of cool areas of St. Louis this past weekend. But
yeah, we did.
The City Museum, to me, Farrell's Donuts is the best freaking place ever. Of course, Pappy's, a lot of people are saying too. But at the event itself, the overall walk was really nice. So like the walk, not even if you're not taking the team route, I think the way that they flowed and structured the pits this year, I thought worked pretty well. The inspections, from what I heard, went pretty well. It's obviously an event that's been, it's been going for 7 years, so you expect it to be flowing well. I agree. The round robin, regardless, I'm still on the edge on if I really like the round robin or not. However, the flow of it went very well, in my opinion. Once the matches started going, it just kept going, and I thought that was really nice. Instead of having those super long breaks in between, there were some matches with a couple, extended breaks, but overall it kept going and made 15 matches seem like it went by really fast. And I thought that was really cool. All right. Hey, Christine, do you want to talk about any recap of St. Louis before we move on?
Yeah, sure. I mean, so talking about the delay between matches, I was down on the floor with my team, and I can tell you that it did not feel like there was much of a delay at all, except when we were all kind of like loading in at the very beginning. Just like the overall space, like we had never really been to Einstein before, but the amount of space that we had field side was really great. All the volunteers were really amazing. Like you guys had said, like, especially at Einstein, they were super accommodating, super nice. They were handing out food to all the, kids and mentors, which is huge because, I mean, for any mentor that's worked with their drive team and stuff throughout the day, you're literally starting at 7 a.m. and you're not walking back into your pit until you're eliminated. And for some teams, the lucky ones that make it to Einstein, there's really no easy way to feed and hydrate your kids. So they were, the first staff was really great about that. I mean, I'm going to miss St. Louis. I'm not going to miss the pouring rain that we were dealt for 4
Yeah, that weather was
days.
terrible.
But yeah, I'm really looking forward to Detroit. I've heard a lot of really great things. My team will be going north. And, Frank was talking about the feedback from Houston. I'm interested to see how they, work things next year. But I think overall it was a good way to leave St. Louis.
Yeah.
The event was really great.
So I know we want to get to the top 25, but I just want to pose one more question. Now that Houston's done, St. Louis is done, just take a couple minutes to speculate on how you guys think the Festival of Champions is going to go. Do you think it's going to be attended by? Do you think it's going to be well attended by the qualified alliances? Do you think it's going to be well attended by the chairman's team? Do you think Thunder Down Under is going to come all the way from Australia? And do you think it's going to be well attended by or an opportunity for FRC fans to go? Do you think, do you think that's going to happen? What do you guys think?
I'm going to start out here. First got lucky. I'm going to say this straight up. For the teams that end up getting on Einstein and winning Einstein are all teams I think have the capability coming out. And I have heard that from the Houston that all the Houston teams planning on attending. I don't know about St. Louis yet. But looking at, Strike Force and 254 and Lightning Robotics, who's from Michigan as well. Of course, Pascack, who's coming in, I think Mar, if I remember. Yeah. So, most of these teams don't have too far to go except for 254. And I think they hopefully have the means to make it out there. So I think first got a little bit lucky on who qualified for First Festival Champions. I'm curious in future years when you have, if like, for example, 1690 wins. If Orbit wins, are they going to fly out from Israel to attend or something like that?
Exactly.
And same thing with, Thunder Down Under, it's an absolutely fantastic team. They're a team that has built themselves really well. I can see them coming out. So I think in this case, I think it's going to go off well because teams that won Einstein and won Chairman's, I think have the means to make it out there. And I think First is counting their lucky stars because of that.
Yeah, I'm going to hop in.
Yeah, sure.
Being in New England and, on Facebook in the last 48 hours, people in New England that I'm friends with have been RSVPing to the Festival of Champions like nonstop. I think you're going to see a huge crowd from New England fans that are going to come and volunteer and just be there for the experience. I think it's being held at the old Verizon Center, and that venue is like one of the most historic places in kind of like New England FRC competition. So it'll be really cool to be there. But I think it's really exciting that it's happening in general. At IRI last year, I went around with Jamie Luce, the FRC team advocate, and she was asking teams, I think every team was asked the question of, how do you feel about two champs? And in a perfect world with an unlimited budget and, no restraints, what would you want to see happen? And everybody was saying, I want to see one champion. I don't want to see, two separate champions. I want to see everybody come together. And, they listened and they're making it happen. So I'm really excited to see how it goes.
Yeah, it was just kind of like, I think Tyler, you said it, like they kind of got lucky where a lot of people have the means / no excuse not to go. You're kind of wondering if, depending on who qualified for it, if it was just kind of going to be like a big defiance kind of thing and just like nobody goes just to like kind of protest that, you're not a fan of the two champions thing. But I think people are getting over that. especially since everybody went to championship this year. You didn't hear about a team that just was like, no, but so it'll be interesting. I mean, they haven't really released any details about it, right? Like kind of the flow of it.
No, there's still
you only have these essentially
still
two alliances going. It's just going to be 3 matches and that's it, or
five. It's best of 5, isn't it?
I don't know.
I think the update said it's going to be best of 5 off the top of my head.
Best of 5 is pretty cool. I'm really interested in. I wish I could have Frank on a little longer because about a million questions I could ask him. But I'm really interested to see how they plan on making the Hall of Fame teams, the newest additions to the Hall of Fame teams, feel special. And I'm really interested to wait. I think it's going to be on TV. I'm interested to see if it's ESPN or where it ends up getting picked up on. But I'm excited about the prospect of it being on TV because I really think that it will be. So I'm excited about that as well.
So, sorry, I'm looking at what Nick has queued up here, and I don't know why he has that queued up. So, okay. So let's wrap up here. Anything else to talk about in general for the season, anything like that before we get into the top 25? I'm sure we're going to have more opportunities to talk later, too.
I don't think so.
Okay. So one thing I do want to mention real quick that Nick has up here and just kind of talk is that there was just a post from one of the world champion teams on Chief Delphi. So, I just want to post that to highlight that there. 5499 is looking for a new home, guys. So they apparently are having to move out of the basement they've been in the past 3 years. So if you're from that area and you can help them out, that'd be fantastic as well. So make sure you just give them a heads up. We just saw that, so we want to move forward with that. So so congratulations, of course, to them for winning the Houston Championship, and we hope they can find a home as well. So give them your love and your support. And of course, if you have any announcements you'd like us to make, we'll get them on social media. So make sure you send those over to me. Don't just tell me about them. Please send them over to me, and we'll get that up as well. Of course, Discord's popping up in New York and that sort of thing, and we just want to make sure everybody has an opportunity to get a voice, and we try to do the best we can for that. So thank you to everybody, and hopefully you get a chance to help. If you're from the Berkeley area, help out 5499. All right, so yeah, so let's check in here with Christine on the drawing. Is it complete, Christine?
It is.
Look at that.
Oh, with the confetti and everything.
Wow.
Yeah, confetti.
That's badass. I love it. So if you want a chance to win this, by the way, we're going to do subs only today. So if you subscribe, you can do so for free through Twitch Prime, or it's only a few bucks a month for the base level. We don't have extended levels built out yet, but if you want to give us more money, we'd love to have it. We'll never say no. But we'll do a drawing at the end, and we hope that you can join that and hope get a chance at that giveaway as well. So Christine will ship that out to you. And of course, if you don't win and you still like a chance to have it, Christine will have a digital print of that available. So make sure you go to her Facebook page, Wordplay All Day, or you can check out her Etsy page as well and get a digital download for it. I think it's what, $2, Christine? Only $2?
Yeah.
So yeah, so $2, you can get yourself a digital drawing of that, and you get some sweet wallpaper for your phone or your desktop, whatever works best for you. So thanks, Christine, for putting that on.
Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So we're gonna let Christine go here, and she's gonna type to us in our little Skype. Actually, if you can do it in Slack, Christine, since we have a couple guests, what that password's going to be, and then we'll get that near the end of the show. So thanks a lot, Christine, and thanks for doing an awesome job this season and joining us on Recap. I thought you were an awesome addition, and we hope to keep having you on for years to come.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It was awesome, and it definitely pushed me to actually make some artwork this season. So looking forward to doing more.
Great. Sweet. So locked in for a 5-year contract now. Thanks a lot, Christine. Talk to you later.
All right. See you guys.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys.
Look, I doodled a picture too.
You did? Where is it?
Oh, this is my camera's over here. Look at my doodle. It's
nicely done. It's a house in a field.
I'll fill in for Christine if she ever came.
If you want to win Mike's drawing, yeah, I don't know what to do.
Can't draw.
Just message him on Facebook. He'll send it to you
for free. I'll pay you.
That's like, there used to be a thing on Facebook where it's like you could pay $2 or $10 or whatever, and somebody will draw a cat for you and send it to you in the mail. Just like you just describe what kind of cat you want. He'll sketch you out a cat and send you it in the mail.
That's great.
Yeah.
Wow. Thanks for the love, everybody. Yeah, you can win it. We'll have a bee drawing later.
See, people want to win your drawing.
Yeah, I'll send it.
So before we get in the top 25, I do just want to talk a little bit about what we're doing tonight and what the process is for that and what we're doing moving forward for this show and kind of why we're doing it. So we have teamed up with Looking Forward for tonight. Many of you know who know what the IT group thing is of Looking Forward and the fantastic insight that they give every week, previewing events, previewing teams, and what they're going to be doing. So we reached out to them to ask them for some help. They always put together this awesome poll of the top teams, kind of an expert poll of top teams in first. And being that we have similar things, we paired together. And they actually did a post one this time. And what we did to kind of figure out a good composite poll, to figure out really who some of the best teams in first were for this year, is we did our poll that the community responded to. We had nearly 400 votes for this poll, by the way, which is absolutely outstanding and amazing. So that poll was done as a pre-chance. We showed you guys the Houston top 25, the St. Louis top 25. We combined that together now into what is the community top 25 as a pre-champs thing. And then Looking Forward has come together with us, and we're waiting that a 50-50 wait for a post-champs thing. And the reason why this is effective, in my opinion, is because Looking Forward has brought together groups of individuals who have put together their top 25, and we are putting together from a pre-champs the top 25. So you get to see where these teams were before championships and how they've improved or maybe fallen back a little bit from championships as well. And it kind of gives a full season overview. So we're not just focusing on what happened before championships. We're not just focusing on what happened at championships. You're getting a good composite in between. So is any poll perfect? Absolutely not. We think that this one is looking pretty good. And we hope that you're satisfied with it. And if you're not, well, we'll move forward from there as well, too. So we will be releasing the full community rankings afterwards, or at least part of it. We'll try to get what we can out on Cheap Delphi. And at some point, I know we've heard from you guys. We'll try to get our website updated as well for that, too. So we're very excited to go through these top 25 that we have for the 2017 season. A couple things I want to note as well, especially because this can draw some confusion, like when we did our expert poll last year. You may see some teams, for example, I'm just going to throw out a couple of numbers. There could be a team that their community poll ranking was 10th, their expert poll or Looking Forward poll ranking was 19th, and they end up being in 9th. So there are, based on the points that compile together, when we look at the weights between the two, they just still might have done better than what another team was who had a little bit different ranking. So they could be a little bit lower than what the two numbers show just based on how they combine. So keep that in mind. It's not an error. We have triple checked it this time to make sure we're looking good for that. And we're very excited to show you what teams these are. I think some will be a little bit of surprise. I think some will be kind of right where you think they're going to be. And it's interesting. We'll show you on the overlay what their overall ranking was, what Looking Forward voted them as, and what the community voted them as combined between Houston and St. Louis. So if somebody in chat can keep track for us, we'd appreciate it. And we'll move forward into our top 25, guys. I don't know if anything else you want to give as an intro before we start going.
Tyler, you nailed it. You did.
I try.
Yep. Awesome. I just want to go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say at some point, I wanted just to shout out some people that we met in St. Louis. We can do that later.
Maybe we'll do that at the 10 break.
Yeah.
But I just want to thank everyone again for all season long, the participation, the voting. We wouldn't have anything to talk about or count down without your participation. And, 2011 was the first year that we've done this, and we've had people that have voted several times throughout this process, just really fans of the show for a long time. So we really thank you for your support, and we're ready to kind of count this down one last time for 2017.
Let's see. It's always a bittersweet moment.
It is. For me, it's, well, yeah.
More sweet than bitter, just because you get some of your life back.
I'm ready to be done for a little while.
Yeah.
We are still going to have some content, though, for first up.
Yes, of course.
Oh, absolutely.
Keep that in mind. We're going to be reaching out to our subs for what we can do in the summer, but obviously the top 25 will be done for the year. So it is a little bittersweet. You're right, man.
Yep.
Is that your Space Cowboy shirt?
What?
What shirt are you wearing?
He's got a Blackhawk shirt on.
Blackhawk Robotics.
Dang.
I thought Christine might have been wearing. She was wearing a 148 shirt for sure, but I'm not sure if it was a Space Cowboys one.
Well, speaking of 3310.
Oh.
My
awesome
segue.
Speaking about them.
Oh, are they the 25th team?
They are.
They are the 25th team. Team number 3310.
From Heath, Texas, Rockwell Heath High School, it's Blackhawk Robotics. They had an overall record of 45-12 this season, and they were the St. Louis Championship finalists. So not appearing in the St. Louis top 25 heading into the championship, they probably should have been, taking home 2 regional wins this year, those being the Arkansas City Rock City Regional and the Brazos Regional. They seeded second in the Darwin division after their 10 matches and were selected first overall by 1986. They would add 302 and 3719 to join that alliance, and 6 matches in the Darwin division sent them to Einstein, where through the round robin they advanced into the finals, and with 2 epic matches, they would end up losing those matches to the daily division. They have an awesome autonomous mode, perfect cycles, and some great fuel and gear scoring. With their swerve drive out there as well. Shows us just why Blackhawk is for Omnis. Thank you. It looks like swerve. And gear scoring shows us, that was Nick that fed us that information, which is just why Blackhawk is in the top 25. So well done, guys. It's just really cool watching you and Einstein, just keeping toe-to-toe with many of those robots that are out there. That you would think first off, 254 the 1986, but 3310 really holds their ground in comparison. So congrats to them.
Yeah, so I just want to say that maybe going into the event, it wasn't as good as what we had what we'd seen from them throughout the season, but they had one of the best hopper autonomouses in St. Louis. Man, that thing was, when it hit, they were one of the few teams that could actually get 40 kilopascals of pressure in autonomous. They were probably only the 2 or 3 robots that could do it. So I had spent some time in the filler line of the practice field with their team and really got a chance to look through their robot, and it's a great machine and just an awesome job for 3310.
And they really, like I said, they were selected first overall. So when I say pulling their weight, I don't really mean that way, but I know Tyler and I noticed that depending on what side of the field during, the round robin matches they were 1986, I thought, if I'm remembering right, did one side of the field, and 3310 would do the hopper auto.
Yeah,
on the other
1986 did the red side, and 3310 did.
Yeah, I don't know if they did that similarly in the division playoff runs, but we did notice that too. That this was a great robot that they got here. So well done to them.
Certainly,
yeah, absolutely. Congratulations.
Chat will fill us in, but. So that being said, we'll move on to our 24th ranked team, which is team number 2767.
From Kalamazoo, Michigan, Kalamazoo County 4-H, it's Strike Force, 59, 27-0 overall, the winners of the 2017 St. Louis Championship. So an amazing season for 2767 might be an understatement. Winners of 2 district events, they won their division of the Michigan State Championship. They seeded 1 in the daily field, winning that division and eventually becoming the world champs. So, this is one of the first ones that, as Tyler mentioned before, going to see a little bit of, shock, I guess, to see a world champ, number 1 seed be ranked 24th, but it is what it is, and just an awesome robot from 2767 Strike Force.
Yeah. So I'm gonna remind one last time, and then people keep complaining, we're gonna start muting people. Community poll was pre-champs, and this is a combination between pre and post. So please keep that in mind as we move forward.
Yep.
So Strike Force, a team that I've really never heard of before, comes out this year, does super well in the Michigan district. They won St. Joe's, won the Kentwood district, won their district division, and then come out and win the number 1 seed in daily, win the daily division, win the overall championship. What a incredible season from them. Just put together a great robot here, and just all the credit to them. I love it.
All right, moving on to the 23rd ranked team is team number 604.
Sorry, 604 from. Sorry, guys. From San Jose, California, Leland High School. It's Quicksilver, 43, 9-1. Overall, they were winners of the Hopper division. and they were semifinalists at the Houston Championship. So winning the Silicon Valley Regional, Quicksilver took Houston champs looking for gold on the world's half championship stage. They took fourth after 10 matches and would captain the third alliance. They would take down number 6 and number 2, and then beat number 5 in the Hopper finals and advance to Einstein. Going 3-2 in the round robin, it just wasn't enough to advance to the finals of Einstein. But congrats to Quicksilver on a great robot playing a part of the game so well and running some of the best gear cycles in FRC. Not one of the robots that does everything, but does that one crucial part of the game so well. So congrats to Quicksilver. It was great watching your ride.
Their name is so appropriate for their gear cycling because they are so fast at doing it. Absolutely.
Cool. On to number 22. Let's talk about Team 180.
From Stuart, Florida, Martin County and Jensen Beach High School was at SPAM, 41-9 overall. The winners of the Orlando and Rocket City Regionals. So sporting an impressive record coming into the World Championship. I don't know if you guys remember, I think they only had 2 or 3 losses. They would play in the Newton Division in Houston. They ranked 7th and would join the number 2 alliance with the Beach Bots. They played incredibly well, advancing all the way to the finals in their division. So, winning 2 regionals, not losing a lot of matches in this game is not easy to do with the climb works and that whole
it's almost
deal.
Lucky not to.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. So great season for the 2012 world champs, and 180 still cranking out great robots out of Florida. So great season for them. All right, moving on to 21, we have team number 1574.
From North Israel, it's Miskar, 49-13-2 overall, and they were the winners of 2 different Israeli district events, and they were the finalists at the Israeli championship event. So Miskar played in the Roebling division, and they ranked 4th after qualifications with no interpicking or maybe declines. 1574 would captain their own alliance and make a good run, but would exit in the quarterfinals after 3 matches. With a top fuel scoring robot in with one of the top fuel scoring robots in FRC, 2 district wins, district championship finalists, district chairman's, district champion chairman's award. Very successful season for 1574. Israel has just become quite a hot spot of teams, not only on the chairman's level, on the robot level. So congrats to them. I know we have talked about them many times this year as, really showing us, being one of the best robots.
They were my Barker Redbacks to what Justin had for that, because I was absolutely in love with that team's fuel scoring, especially in autonomous.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Moving on. So that was 1574 in the 21st spot. In 20th, we have 4613.
And those perfect segues tonight from Sydney, Australia. Barker Couch, the Baca Redbacks, 72-16 overall. The winners of a lot of regionals. So we all know the success they had this season, winning 4 regionals. Let's talk about their success at the championship. So playing in Hopper, they ranked 6th with their fuel scoring machine in Houston and captain the number 5 alliance. Things did fall apart a little bit in the Hopper finals. They failed to reach the KPA bonus, which for them was a very rare feat, topping out only 237 points. But the division finals is a great way to end their season, and a record-breaking season for them, becoming the first team to win 4 regionals. So we went from Tyler's favorite team of the season to my favorite team of this season, 46-13, the Baca Redbacks.
Oh, the next one might be my favorite too.
Oh gosh, lots of favorites. That favorite, of course.
You want to take this one, Tyler?
Yeah,
sure. I'll do it.
Just read where it says Mike.
All right. We cue this up? It's not all ad-lib?
I'll read it because I wrote it. Sometimes
I'll
read whatever else people wrote.
All right. So that mystery team in 19th is team number 2481.
From Tremont, Illinois, Tremont High School is the Robotiers with a record of 34-11. They were the winners of the Central Illinois Regional. So somebody from this team came up, and I think Tyler knows them. I think that's why. But we had got into a conversation about the Robotiers, and he was just sharing that the high school is only the total high school, I think, is like 200 students. The hometown is like 2,500 people or something. I don't know if that ratio works out, but it's something like that. Very, very small town.
Yeah, it's a small village outside of Peoria. 2,210 for their population.
2,210. Yeah. So maybe the high school is even smaller. They played this past weekend in the Curie division. They looked to defend their 2016 world title. Playing well, they seated second behind OP Robotics. They would select from that position and would play the 7th-seeded Alliance in the quarterfinals. They lost match 1. They would win match 2, but just couldn't pull out another win, and they would exit the Curie division in the quarterfinals. Still a really good bounce-back season. Sometimes we see kind of after such a really successful season, teams just can't come back from that for whatever reason, this or that. But Roboteers, putting out a solid season after that. So congrats to them, and we'll see you next year.
So one thing I want to mention real quick, and I love to talk to Tyler from 2056 about this, is that the one thing I was really surprised about is why they didn't go at 2041. I know in retrospect it probably seemed like a good idea because 2041 got knocked out in the quarterfinals. 2041 had a pretty rough Thursday, and they started to improve pretty dramatically going into Friday as well with some 4RP matches. So I was really surprised that OP didn't do that, because to me that seemed like the logical pick, because they were really the only other really good fuel scorer out there. So it seemed like, and they still run gears pretty well too. They're a swerve drive that has that. So I'd love to hear the insight behind that. So maybe we get Tyler on some point. Nothing against 1241-36, because they're a fantastic team and a great robot. Just from the way that the alliances broke down,
right?
I was very surprised that they didn't go with 2041, but obviously worked out for them. 2056, 1241 moved on to Einstein, and 2041 knocked down the quarters. So, but just would love to hear the insight at some point for that.
Indeed.
I'm trying to. Nipun said, I'm trying to see what he wrote. 24. You won in 2056, so you lost better. So, okay, I think I got
it. All right.
All right. Anyways. Sounds good. From 19 to 18. This is going to be 16-19.
From Longmont, Colorado, it's Upper Creek Robotics, 33-12 overall, with the winners of the Colorado Regional. So this is a team for me that I was really looking forward to seeing how they would fare at the championship, and they answered that pretty soundly by taking the number one seed in the Hopper division. Things didn't go for them in the quals that we talked about at the time, being upset with the number 8 Alliance. But that result doesn't change anything about the season they've had and the awesome robot they built. It's a team we talked about all season long, and it's one of those teams that's up and coming team that we've talked about for a couple years now, and really excited to see what robot they bring this year. So congrats on a great season for 16-19 Upper Creek Robotics.
Upper Creek.
Moving on to the 17th spot and team number 148.
From Greenville, Texas, Greenville High School, it's the Robo Wranglers, 43-22 in Steamworks, and they were semifinalists in the Tesla division at the St. Louis Championship. So 3 silver medals on the year heading into championship, those being at Dallas, Lone Star North, and Las Vegas. The Robo Wranglers were looking their best of the season this past weekend in the Tesla division. Dialing in their shooter, they would score a bunch in auto, finish it in tele, and cycle gears with ease via their super quick and elusive drivetrain. 148 would place 4th, but taken off the board first. 6 emotional playoff matches is all that they would see there, and they would exit in the semis, and then that would be it for them for the season. But a heck of a year from 148. We always love watching the iteration process that 148 goes through during a year, and we just hear so much about that process and how it's so important and why it's so important from John V. Noon. About that. So congrats to 148, the Robo Wranglers, on a good season. I'm sure it's not up to their expectations, but taking a step back, still a really successful year among that. I don't know if Nick wants to add anything in our ears, but I
just want to give them a shout out for winning the Engineering Inspiration Award. I think they're a team that's kind of tried to get back on that chairman's train for a couple years now, and I think it's a good step in the right direction for them, and they totally deserve it. I've had a chance to read their Chairman's Award essays for the past couple of years, and man, they just, every time I read it, I'm like, yeah, you guys should definitely win. So I don't know, but I was very happy to see them achieve that.
So we're seeing here too that 148 got 4 rotors and 9 out of 10 qualification matches. That 10th match was only 1 gear away, and they were averaging 6 gears a match. So that's that really quick drivetrain. If you watch any of their videos, really just can hop around the field with.
I was going to say, I think based on their chairman's feedback, they need to start more FTC teams in that facts, but they got EI. I think that was their chairman's feedback, by the way.
I hope it wasn't. I hope that's a joke.
I hope not, but or I hope it. Yeah, I agree. I hope it was a joke. But.
Okay. We're going to move on to our 16th ranked team, and that's Team 330.
From Hermosa Beach, California, Hope Chapel Academy, it's the Beach Bots. 40, 13-0, and winners of the Los Angeles and Arizona West Regionals. So the defending world champs entered the Newton division to begin their trek back to Einstein, and things look great as they seated second on the Newton division in Houston. And has been a commonality, though, with the teams I've talked about recently. They would advance no further than the finals. They would be defeated, however, by the eventual world finalists in Houston. But it's another awesome season for the Beach Bots. Another return trip to deep in the elimination rounds, being as division finalists. So another great season for 330.
Yes, for sure. Like I said, that seems so long ago that they played.
I know, Houston
right?
seemed like forever ago.
It does.
All right, so moving on to 15 and team number 2122.
From Boise, Idaho, Treasure Valley Math Science School, it's Team Taters. 51, 18-1 overall. They were winners of the Carver subdivision, and they were semifinalists on Einstein at the Houston Championship. So taking 2 regional wins at Idaho and the Western Canadian Regional, the Taters kept it rolling in Houston, ranking 3rd after 10 matches. They would captain the second alliance and would select their alliance for the playoffs. 8 matches in the Carver playoffs. This alliance would advance to the Einstein round robin, missing the finals by less than 100 points, which is like 20 per match, which is really not that much. They would exit as semifinalists on Einstein. So another awesome season from the Taters down in Idaho. It's just been great watching your progress, not only this season, but in seasons past. And they just are building a great program down there. So congrats to them. It's 21-22 the Taters.
They're another one of those teams where back, a couple of years ago even, they were very non-existent, I think, in many people's minds. And obviously, both in our community and through looking forward, they're getting a lot of attention and getting noticed a lot. And it's awesome to see a team from Boise, Idaho that when the heck would you ever think about Idaho if you're not from that area? And to see the success that they're having is incredible. And they continue to keep they keep raising the bar, even though they didn't go as far, or they did go as far, right, this year. So, continual Einstein appearances from them. It's just, it's starting a legacy there, and it's looking absolutely fantastic. And their robots just keep getting more incredible and awe-inspiring each year. So congrats to the Taters.
Mike, you mentioned that the Killer Bees FL or the Vex IQ teams were baby bees.
Yeah. The Bumblebees?
The Bumblebees, yeah. I think 21-22 should start some Vex IQ teams, and they can be the Tater Tots.
Oh, my gosh, dude. Or
if they're not already, because that's
right.
Or something, the Tater Tots. Oh, that is such a
even FLL.
Oh, yeah, FLL. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
The Tater Tots. Oh, my gosh. That would be great, dude. I was just talking with Mike in the chat. I should ask him.
Tater Tots the name of the mascot, apparently.
Oh,
that's okay. You can still have Tater Tots. The NFL team.
It would be perfect. Even if you're not associated, like I would start a team called the Tater Tots, like Scott's Tots.
Scott's Tots.
Hey, Mr. Scott. All right, cool. Let's move on.
14.
From 15 to 14, we're going to talk about Team 1690.
From Northern Israel, it's Orbit, 37-21 overall, the semifinalists of the Israeli District Championship. Excuse me. So the Stronghold finalists went through Steamworks without a win, but the robot was firing in all cylinders in the Carver division, where they, since I'm talking about them, shouldn't surprise anyone that they were finalists on their field. Oh, sorry. They were finalists on their field after they seeded first, which seems to be a trend of the teams I've been talking about. But another great season for the Powers from Israel. And you guys, thoughts on kind of the growth of great teams we've seen from Israel? It's not just 1690. It's Miskar, Bumblebee, a lot of great teams coming out of Israel. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, you said it. Miskar, Bumblebee, Orbit, What was
There's a
the
whole
other one?
bunch. General Angels is another one I
had
can
a
think
good
of.
year this year.
Steampunk, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a bunch out there, and I'm going to attribute part of it to Israel. They're getting more experience with their teams, and they're getting a lot more match play now. Going to districts, I think, was a phenomenal move, especially for Israel, where you're so isolated from anything else. Now these teams are getting multiple events to compete at, and you're just seeing more and more teams from Israel just start to rise. And it's truly unfortunate that we'll never get to see any of them at St. Louis or Detroit championships now. But real quick aside, there was only four countries represented at St. Louis champs.
Oh, really?
If I remember correctly, Netherlands, France, Canada, and the United States. And there were, I think, like 13 or something like that represented at Houston. That's a shame. It should not be that way. I really think personally they should break up Australia and Israel and send one to the other, so at least we get some of that. That was my thought. I was really surprised that didn't happen. But I hope I get a chance to go to Houston next year, because I'd love to be able to just check out more of these teams that are just starting to rise and continually do well from year to year.
Yep, definitely. I definitely felt that at St. Louis. There's a definite lack of that kind of international flair.
Still not that many, by the way. But yeah. Gotcha.
All right. So moving along from 14th to 13th, and we'll talk about team number 987.
From Las Vegas, Nevada, Cimarron Memorial High School, it's the High Rollers. With an overall record of 35-16, they were the winners of the Carver Division, and they were Einstein semifinalists in Houston. So one regional win on the year, which was the Utah Regional. The High Rollers returned to the big stage, where we always see that the best that they have to offer. They would rank 5th after their matches and would be selected 2nd overall. This alliance put up some impressive numbers in the semifinals on Einstein, but just missed being one of those top 2 teams, and they would exit the championships at that point. So just another great season from our now not newest Hall of Fame team. That's 987, the High Roller. So congrats, man. And like I said, we really just see always the best out of 987 at championship. And another, bounce back year, right? I think we see this kind of sometimes with our Hall of Fame teams too, where they're just firing on all cylinders, robot wise, chairman's wise, and then just, kind of that peak, and then they start going down that valley. But 97, coming out, putting out another impressive year, just like they always do. So congrats to them.
Okay. So I'm going to Las Vegas at the end of this month, and I think I should do
sick invite.
Yeah, I should do a walkthrough of their shop and film it, because if you have not, I've talked about it a couple times, but it'd be really cool to show it. So I think I need to get in contact with Jenny or somebody else there to see if we can do some filming there, because their facilities are absolutely incredible. So.
Cool. So moving on from 13th to 12th, it's going to be team 125.
From Boston, Massachusetts, Boston Latin, Brookline, Revere High School, it's the Neutrons. 51 and 35 overall winners of the Chairman's Award at the New England District Championship, and had several finalist appearances. So as I just mentioned, a lot of success in the Chairman's Award column, but looking for their first win of the season in St. Louis.
Some background noise going on.
They compete in the Carson division and ranked 3rd overall, with 303 kind of scorching the earth a little bit. 125 captained their alliance to Einstein. I finally get to talk about a team that went to Einstein after quite a few finalists, but finally a win and a division win for 125, which is fantastic. The robot, which is one of the most commonly replicated and inspiration-causing robots of the year, with their awesome fuel singulator to their shooter, which is fantastic. At the end of their season, 4th ranked on Einstein after the round robin, but just an awesome season for 125, and really, really happy for them to get that win finally.
The eliminations on the Carson division were absolutely insane. Like, they were some of the coolest. Just like
they were.
When you got the semifinals, and you had the Ponage and who were they with, Test Team, right?
303,
yeah, and then you had 195 in an alliance, and you had 125 in another alliance. Like, it was absolutely incredible. And there were some replays and that sort of thing, yada yada yada. But just to see these robots on the field just facing off against each other, and seeing who came out, any one of these alliances could have done fantastic on Einstein. And 125 was just spot on. Their autonomous was down. They looked really good. And I was personally a little surprised that I didn't see them in 1 or 2 spot, but of course, some other fantastic teams up there as well. But a fantastic season by 125, finally getting to where they needed to be, right? Because they had a couple exits that were earlier than what they wanted to. I don't think they had a single win on the season, if I remember correctly. To see them get all their stuff together with an absolutely phenomenal robot, no matter how many times people copied it, they came out on the top, and it was great to see them play.
Mm-hmm. And just quickly looking at some of their footage again, I mean, their shooter is just really cool and accurate. That's one of my favorite ones out there this season. Yeah. Just the way they shoot that single stream, super accurate. That ground pickup that they got and everything. They just really have put in the hours and the time this season.
Brando says they played 107 official matches.
I was just gonna look at that. Yeah, 107. I thought I was going through. I was like, I wonder what our highest team was. I know they competed 4 or 5 weeks out of 7. So, awesome job to the Neutrons.
Definitely. All right. Continue on our perfect string of segues. Teams in the chat. We're just talking about no Canadian teams being on the list, and in the 11th spot, we'll talk about 610.
From Toronto, Ontario, Canada, in the Crescent School, it's Crescent Robotics. An overall record of 52-18. They were the Darwin Field finalists at the St. Louis Championship. An impressive competition season leading into St. Louis champs, winners of the Ryerson and Windsor Essex district events, and the Ontario Provincial Championship. Crescent Robotics was 5th in the St. Louis top 25 heading into it. It kept showing us why in the Darwin Field. Excuse me. The ranking 15th, they were selected 2nd overall. With good synergy, their alliance, which was 6'10", 11, 14, and 359, which, again, I don't know how that happened. And the one other one, which I don't have, I'm sorry.
I'll get you.
What's that?
I'll get it.
Thank you. They battled hard and through 2 close, hard-fought matches would exit the Darwin Field as semifinalists. So congrats to 610, an incredible season, one of the best gear cyclers out there. We did an interview with them, Tyler and I did, so that'll be coming out your way soon. So you can kind of check that out.
I think we're going to show a post show. So once we're done doing a discussion, we're going to show some of the interviews that we did. By the way, 6387, of course, Disco Bots Canada. So if you're not familiar with Disco Bots, by the way, huge set of teams in Vex now coming to FRC. So watch out for them in future years.
Awesome.
Cool. So as we're at our 10 break, you guys talked about an interview with 610. Did you guys get to talk with any other people you guys are down there?
Yeah, we did. So in the past couple of years, I've always tried to, as best as I could, to kind of write down the people that we've gotten that have come up to us. Have said hi and talked to us about the show and stuff. So, so that was Joe Rich was his name. That was the parent of on 2041 the Roboteers. So thanks, Joe. Sure. We met Charles, who's on, I think, 868, the Tech Hounds. He's one of our subscribers. He goes by, he told me what his name in the chat was, but I forgot.
I don't remember exactly. I'll know it if I see it. I just don't remember.
Yeah, he told me. I should have said that. Rahul from 2590 Nemesis, he came up and said, "What's up?" Smitty also came up. She is also in the chat as well. I think it's
from Regal Eagles.
Yep, you got it. So, and then Randy from 195, he tells us that the Cyber Knights are working usually on Tuesdays, but at 8:30 when our show comes on, they always turn it on. It's always on, and they're always watching. So, so thanks to them and the team. And then, Tyler, do you want to talk about Elliot? He's Elliot, right? I think Elliot and Josh that we met at the restaurant, and kind of that story real quick.
I'll do it. I always feel like it's like a weird gloating thing, but so cool experiences that we get to have. So we went to what was this place? Was it Salt and Smoke? Salt and Smoke we went to, which was in this uptown area by was it? I think it's University City is what it was called.
Yeah, which I think 20 minutes away from.
I've never been there, and I totally wish I would have. And it was a mile away from our Airbnb, and we had no clue it existed. So we were sitting down in this restaurant, and 4 people sit next to us. And this is one of those weird, surreal experiences because, I mean, we're all normal, everyday guys who work, middle-class jobs and that sort of thing like that, right? And it was pretty awesome to be able to all of a sudden have somebody tap us on the shoulder and say, hey, my kids are really big fans of your show. And to be able to meet these people and talk to them about their team and what's going on and be able to, just take a picture with them, that sort of thing. Like, I mean, we love that, I think, just as much as hopefully they did as well, too, because it's just so cool to be able to talk to people and be able to find out how their team is doing and thank them for watching the show, because, I mean, we really appreciate that. And it means the world to us that you guys watch and hopefully, continue to watch and enjoy it. But Mike, you and I were talking about that for quite some time, because that's
cool.
It's such a cool thing for us. It's not something that we're used to, right? So it's just like, we're just here, doing what we do, and we love to be able to talk to people. So there was, I mean, I wish I would have written down some that I talked to, Mike, because you're outshining me here for sure.
Oh, well, that was collective.
Yeah. But yeah, there was, we got to meet so many fantastic people, many who I've not met before, which is really cool. And hopefully we'll have a chance to meet many more, of course, with 2 championships going on. So thank you, everybody, for bumping into us, just saying hi, saying you watch the show. That means the world to us. It really does.
Yeah, that's what makes us all worth it.
Exactly, right? And we hope we can continue to put out a good, albeit sometimes snarky, product for you as well. Inside joke there, sorry.
Cool. So that's it. We can keep going. It's getting on the later.
Let's do it. It is.
So our 10th ranked team will be Team 33.
From Auburn Hills, Michigan, Notre Dame Preparatory School, it's the Killer Bees. 68, 24, and 2 overall, with the winners of the Southfield District event and the Michigan District Championship. So after an awesome season competing in Michigan, 33 brought their fuel scoring machine to the Carson Field, taking the number 2 spot. Like I already mentioned, with the alliance selections happening, they didn't have an opportunity to play with some of the teams maybe they would have liked, but they did a great job playing with the teams that they did not playing with, but unfortunately would only advance to the semifinals. But it's a great season, another great robot for team number 33. Again, the alliance selections there with 303 scorching the earth a little bit. I think hurt 33, but they have like we've talked about on the show several times now, another awesome robot and a really great season overall. Winning the Michigan championships, like winning a championship in and of itself.
Yeah, right, for sure.
33. I always just want to bounce every time.
Killer Bees.
Dude, right? Jim is like the highest one that's jumping too.
I know, right?
He's bum, man.
Dude, okay, it's another side note of cool stuff. So when we're handing out top 25 stickers, of course, there are some people who have absolutely no clue what's going on, and that's always interesting. And then you get there was Killer Bees, and there was a couple other teams, and I always feel bad because we leave people out. But Killer Bees, man, they were stoked. That was so cool to be able to them in I know 1986 was to just be them they were jumping and excited and stuff, and they're like, where do we put the sticker? They were fighting over who got to place the sticker on the robot.
Teams already know where they're going to put it.
It's great. Yeah, right. Yeah. That was really cool. So thank you to Killer Bees, and of course just teams like that for making our time good too. We appreciate that.
Yeah. All right, in the single digits, in the 9th spot, we have team number 971.
From Mountain View, California, Mountain View High School, it's Spartan Robotics. An overall record in CMARCs of 37-10. They were the finalists in the Carver Field at the Houston Championship. With one regional win for the year at the San Francisco Regional, Spartan Robotics is an amazing fuel scoring robot. A great shot from the hopper. They showed us why they were ranked 3rd on the Houston poll. Taking 2nd overall, they were selected off the board first, playing 3 matches. In all of the quarters, semis, and finals, they would just not be able to outplay that number 2 alliance in the finals. So just an amazing string of seasons here for Spartan that is putting together. Just have an amazing team. Just that robot from last year and just how it turned heads. Then coming back this year just with an incredible robot. Really sticking out there in California. And congrats to them on another great season. So that was Spartan Robotics in 9th. In 8th, we'll talk about 195.
Justin was muted one time. From Southington, Connecticut, Southington High School, it's the Cyber Knights, 63, 22, and 0 overall. The winners of the Hartford District event and the New England District Championship. So similar to what we just talked about, 33, 195 had some really, really strong play in New England and several wins. 195 brought their fuel scoring machine to the Carson division and rode that stream of fuel to the number 5 alliance. They played awesome in finals match 1, which is a 5-point difference. They were right there with the team that eventually would advance to Einstein after finals match 2 didn't quite go their way. But man, another great robot for 195. And I confused myself.
No, they do have a great robot, Justin.
Certainly, and it's not just them. A few others in New England, like we just talked, or like we were just talking in the chat, 195. A lot of these teams in that area are really building some awesome robots.
Yeah, we're seeing that in 195, another stellar, amazing season that they had. And we just kind of talked about that about Israel. We've talked about that about Ontario. We're seeing that in New England. Just these pockets of teams that have good teams really have just started elevating that play. And we're just seeing that. And, 195 has been a good team for a long time. But them, too, have really strong, some really solid, good seasons, back-to-back here. So congrats to them.
Yeah. So 195, you look to at the rankings for looking for in the community, it looks like their pre-champs rankings and their post-champs rankings look pretty similar to each other. So, and that's why some people might say, why are they higher than 125? I think that's part of the reason is 125 had a higher post-champ ranking, but not as high pre-champ ranking. But yeah, fantastic robots. I mentioned that division and the play that they had. It was cool to see just those robots just compete back and forth, even though I was distracted with Waterworks going on right next door.
Yeah.
Waterworks.
Okay. Sweet.
All right. So from 8 to 7, we have team number 973.
From Atascadero, California, Atascadero High School, it's the Greybots, 38-12-1 overall in Steamworks, and they were the winners at the Houston Championship. So enter the Roebling division in Houston. They were ranked 8th on the top 25 Houston poll, and thanks to their win at the Sacramento Regional, ranking 1st overall in the Roebling division. The Greybots just made winning look so easy, scoring 500 points 9 out of 13 times. The Greybots would take home that World Championship win. So well done to the Greybots. They'll be headed maybe to the World Festival, Festivus, to the World Festival of Champions, and a world champion. So congrats to them, man. Awesome job to the Greybots.
Yeah, dude, 973 looked fantastic at Houston. It was awesome to see, and that's why looking forward to placing them at number 2 post champs. Congratulations.
I'm going to start calling it the Festivus of Champions.
Festivus of Champions.
Festivus.
Show title right there. Festivus of Champions.
Definitely. Also, just a brief aside before we talk about number 6. What did you guys think, or did you really notice each team getting a cable drop in the pit for the live feed of their division?
Awesome.
It was freaking awesome.
Oh, I
heard about that. I didn't know that until I got there that was like announced or whatever.
Yeah, that's why there's tons of teams like crowning on. I know like 125 had like people all around, and 140 had a 55-inch television in their pit. So it was it was really cool.
It was cool. I mean, they've had like the monitors there in the past, but they're not always, or the huge screens like above the pit, but they're not always like visible from your pit. You always have to kind of walk out and see where the rankings were or whatever. But it's awesome having that in the pit, which is like a tip of the hat, I guess, or whatever, to your pit crew. Those that like don't always go out for the matches, that stay back. Just being able to be there and just really. Seeing what's going on in real time is great.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Okay, from 7 to 6. Where is that? Where we are? Yeah, 7 to 6. It's going to be 11-14.
From St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, Governor Simcoe Secondary School. It's Hall of Fame Robotics, 49-19-0, and we're the winners of the Ryerson and Waterloo district events. So starting the season, a few people saw 11-14. They're like, wait, what? Is that really 11-14? They quickly quieted those critics, however, winning 2 district events and playing the Darwin division at the St. Louis Championship. They would rank 3rd there and advance all the way to the finals. So for people scratching their head about the robot, I think it was another fantastic event for 11-14. And what are you guys' thoughts having seen them now playing at the championship event? Was their robot, was it on par for 11-14? A little bit of drop off? What do you guys think?
Go ahead, Tyler.
No, I think it was totally on par. I think the easy question is like, oh, Carthage wasn't as active or wasn't really active. The team is a well-built machine. One person dropping out, or not, I shouldn't say dropping out, but taking a step back did not affect the robot at all. Sure, maybe it didn't have all the shiny powder coating as much as we saw previously, but they were a fantastic shooter. Their arc that they had on their shot was absolutely gorgeous. And they made some interesting decisions with not having the floor pickup, for the robot. But I mean, they made it to the division finals. That's nothing to scoff about at all. What you saw in the looking forward poll there that maybe they dropped back a little bit in that poll number for overall championship performance. But the robot overall was a fantastic bot, and I think some people look at like, it didn't look like their X year robot. But if you look at what their 2016 robot was, by the way, they got knocked out in the quarterfinals in 2016. So to me, that's an improvement year over year, and I think 11-14 is still in fantastic shape.
Yeah, powder coating never won a team world championship.
Right.
So
exactly.
it's really cool. And what I really liked about this game, thinking back on it, it didn't really hit me until you guys were talking about the robot. But one thing I really liked about this game is it really forced even powerhouse teams like 11-14 to make those tough engineering decisions of foregoing gear ground pickup, foregoing fuel ground pickup. It really forced the same teams to make some tough calls, and I really respect that about this game. It wasn't easy enough to say, yeah, we're just gonna do everything and let's get started. They really had to talk about some things, and 11-14 made some of those choices.
Yeah, I pulled up one of their matches from in the Darwin subdivision final. I mean, it's a Symbiotics robot. Like watching this robot go to the hopper and just drain all these shots like one after another. Like it's a Symbiotics robot for sure. 2 district wins on the year.
Before we go in the top 5, if you don't mind, just to mention, there was quite a bit of separation between our 6 and our top 5 overall, and 5, 4, and 3 were extremely close. So keep an eye. It will be very interesting to see the way that these teams lined it up. But the difference between 6 and 5 was pretty significant as we move forward in the top 5. Just keep that in mind.
Alrighty.
Let's do it.
So in that 5th spot, we have team number 2056.
From Stony Creek, Ontario, Canada, Orchard Park Secondary School, it's OP Robotics. 61-13 overall. They were the winners of the Curie division, and they were the St. Louis Championship semifinalists. My opinion, another stellar season for the OP Robotics. I know just kind of have this monkey on their back probably that they're feeling, but they were world finalists last year. They look to take home that gold this year, fresh off their Ontario Provincial Championship win. They ranked first overall in their division and would assemble their alliance. Solid gameplay throughout the playoffs. They would advance to Einstein in 6 matches. They had a lot of people pulling for 2056 to get their first championship win. They missed the top 2 teams by 150 points or so. It's not what they were looking for, but still another great season from OP Robotics. I love talking to their team, man. They're just a great group of kids. Tyler's an awesome person. Stan is amazing. A great program that they have up there. And so they won the Waterloo District. They won chairmans at McMaster. They were the Ontario Provincial District Championship winners and winners of Curie. So, again, taking a step back, an amazing season. I know, there's, like I said, there were so many people are pulling for them to get that first World Championship win. But this wasn't the year, unfortunately.
They've won IRI 6 times, 4 times in a row. I mean, man.
We'll see what happens there.
They've done everything except get that pesky World Championship.
Nick, did I say something wrong?
Oh. No. Nick was pointing out that they weren't second like they've been every single year for a long time.
I got you. Yeah, that's always not fun.
It's not fun just being second. Yep.
Heartbreaking again. I mean, they were just, about 140 points away from
recovering.
Just 140 points away from playing for a world championship again. Finished 3rd after the round robin. So close again for 2056.
Yep. Okay, moving on to 4th. It's going to be 1678.
From Davis, California, Davis Senior High School, it's the Citrus Circuits. 39-7 overall winners of the Central Valley, Sacramento, and Las Vegas regionals. So with their Einstein streak active, 2 weeks ago in Houston, they would play on the Newton field and ranked third, quickly getting scooped up by the top-ranked Robonauts. They played great, and as you'd expect, they would once again advance to the Einstein field by winning the Newton division. They would eventually end, however, as world finalists, but were able to keep that Einstein streak alive. So another great season for 1678. There's a few times I could have brought this up, but I guess I'll bring it up here. It's a good thread on Chief Delphi right now, kind of just discussing, who's the best team in the world right now, and is 1678 with that Einstein streak the best team in FRC right now, or would you guys maybe perhaps give it to someone else? It can just be kind of quick responses here, and now we want to move along. But what do you guys think?
4 in a row, 4 Einstein appearances in a row.
I feel like it might even be more. I think it's 5.
5 in a row now, I think.
So, somebody in chat will correct us.
Yeah, 2 world champions in that span, I think. I think it's 1678 for sure.
Yeah. I think when you think best robot, usually my go-to is either 2056 or 254, but you look at the consistency that 1678 has provided in the last few years, and how can you deny that dynasty from being amazing? Yeah, absolutely.
5 in a row is crazy.
That's nuts. Yeah, winners and nope.
Barely 1 championship win though.
Oh yeah, 1 championship win. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
Against my old team.
More than most have.
Very true.
It's okay, Tyler.
All right.
All right.
Moving to our top 3, we have team number 1986.
From Lee Summit, Missouri, Lee Summit West High School, it's Team Titanium. An overall record of 55-13. They were the winners of the Darwin division, and they were St. Louis championship finalists. So they won Seven Rivers regional earlier this year. Kind of on the slower start, I guess you could say, for them. Didn't get that win until week 7, I believe, right, Tyler?
Yeah, they improved each event though. They were
did for sure.
Semifinalists, finalists, and then winners.
They were third on the top 25 going into St. Louis Championship. They just, again, have that Macadam drive, that single stream of balls where it looks like they don't miss a single one. And if they do, it's like 1 or 2. They just are so deserving. We were just them too. We were just pulling for them to kind of get that win. They've had a great string of seasons over the last 5 or 6 years. So we're just really, I was personally pulling for them just because I love talking about their team. We did an interview with them as well, so that'll be coming up, so you can watch that right after they kind of sealed that and locked in that that number 1 seed kind of. So again, T-Titanium, a great year. Amazing robot. Watching that just kind of maneuver around the field with Macadams to that single stream fuel scoring to just a great robot from them. So congrats.
If you don't catch it after the show, because I think we're going to run that as post, but if you don't catch it, we'll upload it later. But they actually talk about why they chose to go 8 Macadam, and it's pretty fascinating why they chose to go that route. So make sure you check that out.
Yeah, Caltran saying that they filled up their entire 80 ball hopper and missed maybe 7. So looking at over 90% accuracy or something like. No, it's even more than 90%. But it's awesome for them.
Yeah, they're a fantastic team. I think proved a lot of Macadam naysayers, including myself, a bit wrong on how they would end up. So yeah, fantastic job with them, and a great team. That is another team that is coming out of the Midwest and starting to form that dynasty that they have as well.
Mm-hmm. I think it's. I can't do math right.
So before we get in the 2 spot, by the way, just an extra reminder that we will be giving away that drawing from Christine in just a little bit. So keep that in mind. If you are a sub, you'll be eligible for that drawing, and we'll be doing that after number 1. So just keep that in mind, subs. We'll have that coming out to you in just a little bit.
All right. All the drama's in the 2 spot, Jay.
That's right. And I want to thank everyone for tuning in. I think we topped out saw over 250 at one point. So that's just really fantastic. And even post champs, glad to see there's still a lot of excitement in the air about this. And like Tyler had mentioned earlier, we're going to trying to keep content rolling, even through this kind of off season here. So stay tuned for that.
Righteous. So moving on, our second ranked team is team 118.
From League City, Texas, Clear Creek High School, it's the Robonauts. Overall record at 55-17-1. They were the winners of the Lone Star Regional. So another awesome week for the Robonauts. They would end their matches on the Newton field, looking once again to advance to the Einstein field. 1-8 would lead the way, seeing number 1 on Newton, and going on to win their division. On Einstein, they were awesome yet again, and just missed out on crowning themselves world champs. The world finalists, however, is nothing to seize it up course, and just a great job again from 118, the Robonauts.
Very cool. And any guesses to who's number 1?
1676.
I can't quite see it. What is the disparity between looking forward and the community poll on 118?
It's the same. Both rank 3.
Nice.
All right. Last but not least.
Team number 254.
From San Jose, California, Bellarmine College Preparatory School, it's the Cheesy Poops. They had an overall record of 48-6, and they were the St. Louis Championship winners. So earlier this season, they had wins at San Francisco and the Silicon Valley Regional. They played in the Daily Division, where they were second overall and selected that first seeded alliance, where they would play there. Again, they just have that amazing ground intake. They just immediately go and dump out all the hoppers, and then just kind of on their way by from getting gears, they just hug that wall and just suck up all the balls there. We kind of talked about that driver feedback, kind of we've talked about before. I think on Chief Delphi, the 254 human player chimed in. They use the vision light. They flash it when they're going towards their human player to let them know that they would like a gear. So he can drop a gear just so that the other alliance doesn't get any free gear. So that's kind of a cool way to let that person know. I have seen hand signals being used too, but that's a cool way to do it. And then they also flashes again once they pick it up. So that's kind of just cool little features that they have. But again, just that huge stream of balls that they just launch at the high efficiency bowler, and just how many go in, and another great robot from them. So congrats to 254 and another great season.
Yeah, I was able to get close enough. I don't know if you guys walked by their pit. It was always just
always.
It was like paparazzi. It was overflowing with people.
Yeah.
So I finally got a chance to kind of get in there and see the robot a little bit, and I was blown away just by how awesome I am every year, how awesome their pit is, and even how clean the boiler was in their pit, just so they could practice, tuning their shot or their vision code, just how clean even their boiler setup was in their pit, with the PVC pipe painted black and the netting and everything. Just everything they did top to bottom is spectacular, and it doesn't just end. It doesn't start and end with just the robot. So 254 is, I think, by far the most polished team top to bottom in FRC. They're just doing everything right.
Absolutely. Very, very for sure.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap up the FRC Top 25 for 2017. Yay, we did it. Huzzah. Yeah, it's 11 o'clock Eastern. So not as bad for me. So we do want to thank everybody once again for supporting us as well. I forgot. For some reason, I can't put sub chat only. I don't know why I did that, but we can still adjust how we do that as well. So to win Christine's drawing, type in strike, but spell as the baseball way, not as the other way.
Oh,
you
gosh.
can type it in if you're not a sub, by the way, but it just won't count you. So you're welcome to do that. And you'll get a chance to win Christine's drawing.
Yeah, you did it wrong, Tyler. She picked.
What do you mean I did it wrong? I just said I did it wrong. I did it wrong on purpose.
You don't want the word that she picked?
No, because then it will, if people typed in that earlier. What do you mean she picked a word? When did she pick a word?
On Slack, bro.
I didn't see it. Well, that is what it is already. Sorry.
Oh.
What was it supposed to be?
Kalamazoo.
I didn't see it. I'm sorry. I was looking through the chat part and I missed it. I'm sorry. But we'll do that. So once again, you do have to be a sub in order to win this drawing, because it's the last one. We want to make it extra special and thank all of our subs for helping support us. That's how we get any monetization for this, is through our subs. So thank you so much for that. And that will get you through. So Kalamazoo, I'm sorry I didn't see Christine's thing for that. My apologies. But thank you once again, everybody, for supporting us, for watching. Of course, we love that you just watch as well, too. That's what keeps us going. Subs support us financially, and any tips as well, too. So thank you to everybody for that as well. Yeah, you can type in Kalamazoo if you want. So, couple last things. So a couple last things to go through, guys, before we wrap up as we start breaking down as it gets late. If you'd like to as well, we do have some T-shirts up on our site. So go to firstupdatesnow.com. We might get top 25 T-shirts up there. I'm not sure what the timing is on that, as we're all burnt out from the season, but we'll look at that as well. We are looking, we might have a Candidly Speaking show next week to go over the 2017 season, not confirmed yet, so keep that in mind as well for that. But we do want to thank you once again for tuning in. A big thanks to our producer, Nick Olson, working behind the scenes, yelling random stuff in our ear occasionally. He's done an absolutely fantastic job keeping us afloat and keeping us on track as well. So we're going to roll. How do you win Mike's drawing, by the way? Mike, we got to think about this.
Mike Mizzou. That's so funny.
We'll think how to win Mike's drawing at a later time as well. So we're going to end the show in just a moment. We'll roll for the winner. Guys, as we wrap up 2017, yes, we got more content and more shows down the road. Any final thoughts you guys want to talk about for this show?
As always, we say we're just so humbled and blessed that we get to do this. Like we talked about with Tyler. When you guys come up and say hi and stuff, that's just what makes it worth it for me. Just hearing these stories that there's teams huddled around TVs watching and listening is just so cool to think about. So thanks for sticking with us this year. In seasons past, we look forward to seeing you guys over the summer doing some stuff. But we'll go from there, man. Awesome. That's all I got.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm excited to put an exclamation point on this season and excited to see what's going to end up with this Festival of Champions, and we're ready for 2018.
We are ready. So I almost messed something up here by adding some people on the who could win part. So I'm fixing that real quick before we roll because I typed in the wrong thing. So with that said, I think we need to roll to see who's going to win for the drawing. Justin and Mike, do you want to win? Should we leave you in as being eligible? I think that's fair.
Absolutely. That's fair.
All right.
Oh, wait.
It can't be rigged.
What happened? What happened, Justin?
I got to enter my drawing stuff.
Strike.
Justin can only win. So, Justin, if you win, you get Mike's drawing. How's that?
Deal.
All right. Now I'm excited for the drawing for the first time ever.
All right. Let's do this. Winner, DT33345, who's has been following and a subscriber. So following since last year. So thank you so much for winning. Congratulations to you. Make sure you do send me a message and we'll get that out to you. By the way, I know we're behind on a couple giveaways. We will do our best to get those out to you now that the season's wrapped up. So apologize if we're behind on that. But DT33345, make sure you shoot me a message on Twitch or on Facebook and we'll get you that. You have probably till tomorrow or we'll re-give it away. So guys, thank you. Thank you to all of our hosts, Mike, Justin, Nick, Christine, working behind the scenes, getting stuff done. Absolutely phenomenal season that we had here, guys. We were doubled in growth from our end, and we're ecstatic that you guys are telling people about the show, getting more people to watch. That's what it's about. We're so happy. I mean, it's as we continue to grow as First Updates now, we have some really, really cool stuff in the pipeline that we're very excited to start bringing into 2017, 2018. And we'll be, if you're a subscriber, we'll be reaching out to you to get some more of your input on what we can do to continue to be better. We know there's parts that are good. We know there's parts that are bad. Overall, we hope that you guys enjoy being here, enjoy being with us, just talking about First Robotics. So thank you, everybody. We're going to sign off for the 2017 regular season. More content down the road. Stay tuned. And after this, we're going to be showing some of our interviews and footage from the championship. So on behalf of First Updates Now, we thank you for joining us, and we'll catch you next time on First Updates Now. Talk to you then.